All right, personal testimony from my trip over to Johnson and Spillers. Shout out to my friend Dr. Chad Spillers for taking care of me, man. I had to have my front tooth, a tooth implanted on my front tooth, and it was a hell of an ordeal, but Dr. Spillers and the crew from Johnson and Spillers made it as easy and seamless as possible to work with and have taken the final product, and it is absolutely beautiful. Learn more online at johnsonspillers.com. Whether you're looking for Botox or you need help in any type of dentistry, whether it is dentures, night guards, if you're looking for Invisalign, if you're interested in implant dentistry like I got, you can get in touch with Johnson and Spillers. Online, johnsonspillers.com. 2 locations, one in Gonzales, one in Baton Rouge. Easiest way to get them, online at johnsonspillers.com. Shout out to Tom Granning from everybody over here at FM Digital Media, as he is our fuel sponsor. Whether it's fuel cards or snacks, he's keeping us going every day at FM Digital Media. If you're out on Highway 61, make sure and stop in and see him over at Go Mart, that is located in Natchez, Mississippi. It is our favorite convenience store, and it's for our guy Tom Granning, who supports us every day over here at FM Digital Media. Welcome in to a Thursday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. Remember to check our friends out online at GoChevrolet.com, G-E-A-U-X, Chevrolet.com. Of course, here in Baton Rouge, Go Express Auto Sales for a used car selection, and out in LaPlace for brand new cars with Go Chevrolet. Big Thursday edition coming to you here on the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. Remember every day to like and share and comment on the post. We appreciate you starting your day here with us over at FM Digital Media. LSU will face Missouri today. We know that after Missouri takes care of Ole Miss last night in the SEC opening round of the basketball tournament. We'll start to preview that a little bit today on the Jordy Culotta Show, as that game is set to tip off around 1:30 this afternoon. So a little matinee basketball for you, a little daytime basketball action for you coming your way from Tampa Bay as LSU will be facing Missouri coming up at 1:30 this afternoon. We'll be joined by Kim Mulkey, who was named the Athletics Coach of the Year on Wednesday by its group of women's college basketball writers. Of course, LSU went from 9-13 a season and go to 25-4 and staring down a top 16 seed with Selection Sunday coming up here for the women this weekend. We'll talk to Coach Mulkey coming up at 8 o'clock this morning on her squad going into postseason play. What's the status of Alexis Morris going into the postseason? The number one offensive lineman, the number one player in the transfer portal, one of the top players in the transfer portal, Vanderbilt offensive lineman Tyler Steen, who has worked at both right and left tackle for Vanderbilt over the last 3 seasons. He's got 30 starts and very highly coveted by football programs all over. He's got 2 official visits left. He's at LSU today and through the weekend, and he'll be at Alabama next weekend, and then he'll make his choice here coming up pretty soon on where he's going to land. We'll talk a little bit about how this class could shape up if they're able to land Steen and put him in to the group of signees in Brian Kelly's first year. 15 high schoolers, 14 transfers. Can they pick up one more with the 3 spots that they have remaining? LSU baseball last night goes through a game without errors and gets a win versus McNeese. And we'll talk a little bit about that as the Tigers get ready for Bethune-Cookman coming in this weekend. We will have you set up for your pregame on Friday before first pitch. Don't forget about it. It will be Fridays at Fred's, as we will have mic'd up originating from there. We might have a little bit of a pinch hitter for Matuk, as it looks like the baseball negotiations between the players and the owners is starting to kind of shape up, and Matuk could be on the road and into a spring training camp by as early as tomorrow. So if he's out and can't make it through tomorrow, then I'll sit in and host mic'd up over at Fred's tomorrow at 3:30, which we're always looking forward to, as we're going to be out there for all the home baseball games on Fridays, getting you set up for the weekend with our Fridays at Fred's each week of home LSU baseball action. So good stuff coming up here this morning. Make sure you hit the like, the share button, the comment button, as we appreciate you starting your day and being here with us on the Jordy Culotta Show. As we said, Kim Mulkey will be here at 8 a.m. And then we'll also have Bj Ojulari in studio. Looking forward to sitting down with BJ, who's one of the biggest names in college football coming back. In fact, we're not the only ones that think so. It seems like the NFL thinks so as well, as he was a part of a pretty cool deal, as he was able to take in the combine compliments of the NFL. They flew in a couple of underclassmen to Indianapolis over the last week to let them experience what it was like being up at the combine. I think it shows you the type of respect that Ojulari has throughout the sport, and the expectations coming back for him for a third season. We will ask him all about it. What's it been like now adjusting to school, new coaching staff, and getting ready for what feels like his final spring practice? Who knows what could happen, but it feels like this could be the final one for Ojulari.
Yeah, if the NFL is inviting you to the combine, it feels like this might be the last dance for Bj Ojulari, which is fine. I mean, he deserves, I think, what you saw the last 2 years. He looks like he would be a 3-year player. So good for him to be able to get out there and get exposure. And the NFL obviously sees the same thing that we see in him, to where he is one of the more polished and probably better personalities that you could exhibit for the NFL. Like, the dude is nails.
Oh, he's stand up, man.
Yeah.
He's as good as they make him in the sport, and he is a great representative of LSU college football in the SEC. I see Dr. Chad Spillers inside of the bunker this morning, talking about our bit yesterday on the new tooth. New tooth looking good, feeling good here on another day. But make sure and stop in and check out Johnson and Spillers out there, as they're located in Gonzales and one in Baton Rouge over here, if you need a teeth cleaning or if you need teeth implants like we are getting done from the doc. Stop in and see them at johnsonspillers.com. All right, LSU basketball today. We said they'll tip it off at 1:30 this afternoon. They'll go up against Missouri, as the Tigers will face the Tigers coming up from Tampa Bay, which I got to be honest, man, I'm really looking forward to this SEC basketball tournament. Obviously, the SEC has had a really solid, nice overall season when you talk about college basketball, whether it was Tennessee, Auburn, Alabama, LSU, teams that were really coming together, Arkansas, and playing good basketball, and now collectively you put them in one tournament setting. It'll be interesting who can kind of make it out to the other side. Obviously, LSU was at the forefront of some news yesterday, and we covered it. And if you missed it, make sure you check it out. A part of our podcast, or we've even isolated the segment over on YouTube. So if you just want to hear what our reaction was to the notice of allegations being served to LSU, as reported first by Sports Illustrated and Pat 40 about 48 hours ago, it's easy to find that over on the YouTube station. Make sure you like, subscribe. We need to make a push for 10,000 here.
10,000 what?
Jordy Culotta Show subscribers.
Oh.
We're about 800 away. But we're going to come up with some good ideas to get to 10,000 for our subscribers over on YouTube. Maybe some watch parties, some merchandise. In fact, check out the new hats. The mic'd up hats are in.
Yeah, we are close. I mean,
with the
close-ish.
logo.
Yeah.
800 away. We can get there.
We can get there.
Absolutely.
We can make a, yeah, I think March Madness might be the time to make the push. We could do, like you said, a little giveaway. We got the new mic'd up gear. He's got bags. He's got hats. He's got shirts. What? And we got all sorts of swag, and we'll give away. We already have 2 people that are getting some from the mic'd up crew, Peyton and Eli, that went to the first show. First come, first serve, first boys there, so they get a little swag bag. But we'll do up to March Madness for sure.
Man. Get a push for sure here for 10,000 on our YouTube channel. As it has been a hell of a ride here over the last year.
It would probably be there already if it weren't for a couple of people poking around.
I know that, buddy. I think you're a little hard on yourself there. We were able to make it up pretty quick.
It was the anniversary not too long ago of the 3rd, yes.
That day your birthday.
Well, yeah, the 3rd, and then the 5th was not worth celebrating whenever that happened. And then I just got a notification it's Noah Tingle's birthday for the burner on Facebook. So all the social was coming together around this time.
Happy birthday, Noah.
Yeah, fake Noah.
Fake Noah, that's right. All right, so yesterday, obviously, LSU basketball, and still really kind of at the center and the middle of what is college basketball news off the floor. Everybody kind of paying attention to what's going to happen here with LSU basketball after the NCAA served their notice of allegations to the athletic department for the Tigers. Now, LSU did make a statement. They have put out a statement, and look, the statement's up for interpretation, however you want to view it. It's very short. It's very direct. It's to the point. And this is what it says. Yesterday, LSU put out a statement mid-afternoon stating, per NCAA rules and procedures, LSU is unable to comment on any aspect of the ongoing case. We will continue, talking LSU, to cooperate fully with the IARP as we work together toward a resolution. So anything in that statement that can be taken away, it's very vague. There's nothing direct that points to anything that says, look, this is what we know. This is how we're going to handle it. This is what the actions that are going to be taken from behind the scenes. I think when you look at that statement, the only thing that you can take away with it is that LSU is working with the NCAA. They're in contact with the NCAA because the last statement of that statement says, as we work together towards a resolution. So, look, it's what we talked about yesterday. You know where the allegations sit. They sit on LSU's desk now. Now it's kind of into a state of reviewing that, breaking it down, and then, of course, whatever the action is going to be coming from those notifications. But if we can, real quick, there is a little history here, right? As we've seen some of these cases before, there have been 4 schools that have received notice of allegations, and some bigger than others. Kansas has received notice of allegations. They did back in September of 2019. Those allegations included a level 1 violation, which cited the worst of what could be deemed from the NCAA. They cited a lack of institutional control. It also featured a secondary violation with the football program during the time. Kansas has just taken the straight denial, like, wasn't me. Don't know what you're talking about. Nope, not here. Keep it moving. And they have received 0 punishment after the NCAA came down, and really the level 1 violation that they can aim towards anyone's program is usually the harshest. That's usually the most severe. Kansas was cited for a level 1 violation and just said, sorry, you're not gonna come down to Lawrence and enact any type of consequence for that because we didn't do it. Just denied the whole thing. And nothing has happened at Kansas. So that's the first, back in September of 2019. Auburn has received notice of allegations after they had an assistant coach, Chuck Person, who is a former Auburn basketball player turned assistant coach and was a really good recruiter, but it was proven that he was in the back pocket of a couple of financial advisors throughout the sport and was steering players to them. So he was arrested inside of Auburn's practice facility by the FBI. And this was kind of the beginning of that investigation into the corruption of college basketball. So they had an assistant coach arrested on campus, charged with bribery, self-imposed a 1-year postseason ban, and Bruce Pearl, who wasn't on campus at the time, received a 2-game suspension that he served back in December. Since then, he signed an 8-year, $50 million contract. Arizona is the third school that received a notice of allegations from the NCAA. This, too, included an alleged level 1 violation from the former coach, Sean Miller. They also were deemed an overall institution that had lost control of their athletic program. They had an assistant coach that was on Sean Miller's staff, Book Richardson, who pled guilty to 1 felony count of conspiracy to commit bribery after being accused of accepting a $20,000 payment to steer a player to an aspiring sports agent named Christian Dawkins. Dawkins, of course, at the center of the HBO The Scheme documentary. This is where we learned about Will Wade being on the wiretap during Dawkins' trial. He was, prosecutors played a tape that the FBI had intercepted in which Richardson told Dawkins that Sean Miller, the head coach at Arizona at the time, was paying $10,000 a month out of his own pocket to DeAndre Ayton, a former number 1 pick in the NBA draft, now plays with the Phoenix Suns. That's the third school that received a notice of allegations from the NCAA. Now, mind you, 2 of the 3 schools that we've talked about already have had assistant coaches arrested on campus. Chuck Person at Auburn was cuffed, put into a federal vehicle, and hauled off from Auburn's campus. Book Richardson arrested and charged with bribery. Arizona self-imposed a 1-year postseason ban, fired Sean Miller. Sean Miller did miss a couple of tournaments previously, but up to this point, no consequences. And then the final one, outside of LSU, was NC State. NC State paid a fine, vacated some wins, and went on probation for 2 years after it was seen that former head coach Mark Gottfried, who is now the head coach at Cal State Northridge, received a failure to monitor charge, which is also a level 1 violation. The charge is related to another level 1 violation, which involved an assistant coach, Orlando Early, who reportedly paid $40,000 to a player during recruiting. So far, the programs that have received notice of allegations from the NCAA have either self-imposed a 1-year ban, leading to additional, which has led to additional punishment, or flat out just said, it wasn't us, like Kansas. Kansas has just taken the full denial. Wasn't me. They got no punishment. And that's 3 years after the notice of allegations was levied.
Well, yeah, isn't that the way that they can deny it is it's tied into the shoe side of it, right? You just say, I don't know what they were doing on that end. We're just trying to coach basketball on this.
Sure.
If we were doing the recruiting the way that we think we should, what have you, if there's, money coming in from other parties, how is that our responsibility? That's on the player, right? Is that essentially what they're saying?
Yeah.
Because if you're LSU, you just do exactly that's the script. don't say anything, because that's all they're asking you to do is tell on yourself. And I don't know why Will Wade would act any differently, because that's what he's done up to this point, is give himself the wiggle room of not having to deal with the NCAA by just ignoring them. He's like a creditor. Just, I don't have the money.
And then the final school was LSU, who was served their notice of allegations yesterday. And remember, Wade has been suspended for some of the stuff that we're talking about. So whether, they can say, they will obviously say on football, which, by the way, the more you talk and speak to some people who are close to this, it seems like the football situation is a lot messier than the basketball situation. And that would be my biggest concern if I was Will Wade, is the fact that the golden goose is now caught up in this. The lottery ticket, the moneymaker in the football department. And depending on how messy it is over there, the NCAA may need a sacrificial lamb. And if they need a sacrificial lamb to protect football, I don't feel as secure about Will Wade and LSU basketball as I do if that was just an isolated case. Because, we all agree they are going to protect football at all costs. So, you just have to wait and see. That's just kind of what I've heard. That's nothing official. There's nothing to that officially.
Speculative. Allegedly. But would you say that the notice of allegations came because of what happened with football? Like, that's what the ducks that they got in a row, is getting the football side of it to serve LSU, as opposed to, like, there's nothing new coming with basketball. So I'd imagine the reason the allegation, like the NOA was able to be delivered, first of all, it's on you only have 4 years to do it. So they were creeping up on that timeline. And now, do you think that they served LSU with this because of the recent additions of the football problems? Like, they finally got that figured out to put in NOA? Most
probably. I think that, LSU had so many issues with the NCAA that, they were just trying to kind of wrangle the case and put it all together. The scariest scenario for LSU in this proposition is lack of institutional control.
Right.
Because if you get that deemed over your program, now everybody else on campus becomes just, you have to be a
model citizen.
You have to be a tightrope walker. You know what I mean? You better be able to walk that line, because if anybody steps out and is caught doing anything that would be deemed, out of those consequences of lack of institutional control, then you could, you're looking at stuff like the death penalty in the face. I still don't know or believe what type of power the NCAA has these days.
I would understand.
Right? Like, even if you were to buck the system and they came in and said, we're thinking about giving your program the death penalty, could you just
not ignore
almost
it?
Just play above that, right? In this day and age, I still don't understand really the true power of the organization to make something like that happen.
I think the only power they have and where they can kind of flex their muscle is in college basketball. We mentioned a little bit yesterday, but the only thing, they don't run the college football playoff. Like, the NCAA has nothing to do with the college football playoff in college football. Like, that's a third-party thing that was thrown together outside of the NCAA. However, the NCAA does run March Madness, and that's where they can kind of flex their muscle and say postseason ban, whatever. So if they're going to punish somebody, or the team that would have to listen would be LSU basketball, because they just won't let you in the tournament. That's the only power they still have left.
Hughes Bowden, LSU football has done worse than Wade. Sacrificing Will does not make sense.
Fiscally,
it does make sense to the NCAA because they want him bad. They want him in trouble. They want him almost out of the sport. And so if there's problems with the LSU football program, which stem from the Our Lady of the Lake investigation, which included John Paul Funes, who was convicted at the time and served time in a federal penitentiary for payments that were going to Vidal Alexander's dad at the time, which they were calling a no-show job. And then Odell Beckham on the field post-national championship in 2019 season, paying them, with the flash and the cash and paying players on the field. That with a couple of other violations like the James Craig stuff, that, Craig admittedly during his time at LSU, said that he had broke a recruiting violation. LSU fired him for that. That's now in the legal system. But, all of that stuff that was going on during that time really is now being brought to light and shown in this notice of allegations on where LSU stands after all of that stuff has been learned. So I definitely think that the football program has got a bigger mess to clean up as far as, the crimes against it. Remember, LSU docked themselves and self-imposed a bowl ban in 2020, which, was kind of trying to get out in front of this because they knew that this was coming. It was almost a perfect scenario. After that season, you really just kind of wanted to get off the field anyway. And
took the Ben Simmons route.
Yeah.
We're just not doing this. No NIT. We're invited, but we're not going.
Yeah, I don't want to go.
And now, so hopefully that could be something that they could present to the board here and say, look, we were trying to be proactive. We were trying to, penalize ourselves and show that we were contrite for the things that were going on in the program pre-Scott Woodward, pre-Brian Kelly, pre all these people that have been turned over since that time period that's in question. So it's going to be an interesting couple of
years.
Yeah. I don't know what the time period is going to be on this stuff. So there's no telling when it'll all shake out. But, for the process, the part of, what we're kind of monitoring, the latest has been done. They have served the notice of allegations, and they'll kind of go from there on what happens next.
And you talked about Kansas. Oh, go ahead.
The Odell stuff has to be the Odell stuff with this is kind of strange to me because the players that he was giving money to, most of them went to the league after that, and
they gave all the money back.
Right, and right. They gave the money back,
and even if they didn't, that's just what you say. There's no way to monitor what actually happened and what money. They all went out after that night. What do you think happened? You think Joe Burrow paid for drinks that night?
No, and it's NIL now. I would think that would be okay. They have NIL now. The players can get paid, and those guys went to the league, so it's not a big deal. Take that off the docket.
And like you said with Kansas, the way that they handled it, they responded to the notice of allegation saying that we did no wrongdoing, and LSU should, I would imagine, would follow that same blueprint with the football stuff. I don't know what you do. Does it matter that LSU has essentially cleaned house since that's happened? With the NCAA, I don't even care about talking about the NCAA because I really believe they don't have any power in this. They have no dog in this fight for when it comes to football. But if they were to rule on it, would it matter that LSU has cleaned house and new athletic director, new football coach?
Sure, I think it definitely means something.
All of the bad eggs are out.
I definitely think it means something when you're looking from the NCAA standpoint. And it's definitely a sales pitch for LSU, telling them, look, a lot of the problems was the personnel, and the personnel has been removed and it's been replaced. So, I think that's definitely a sales pitch from LSU to the NCAA. But if that hits home, I don't know. I don't know what the relationship. You would think that the relationship between the NCAA and LSU was good just because of the personal relationship that Mark Emmert and Scott Woodward share with one another. But I don't really know the intricacies and the full story of what the feeling of both sides is. The statement says that they're working together. I believe that. I believe that they're in communication and in contact at the highest levels of what is either going to be next or, what could be coming down the line of, sanctions or violations or whatever it may be. Will Joseph inside of the chat app says, man, how can they come down on LSU like that after the Art Briles stuff in Baylor? They didn't get worse than what Jordy was saying could happen. I don't know, man. I think
that's part of the problem, dude. There's no rhyme or reason to when the NCAA decides it wants its pound of flesh.
I was about to say that's another question I have. Why isn't the Les Miles stuff a part of this, or the Geist stuff? Why isn't this a part of it?
Don't give him any ideas.
Well,
I'm not, but I'm just saying. Why isn't all of that a part of this?
I think that's
only people getting
separate.
paid.
I think that's a separate investigation. I think that's a Title IX investigation. I think that's a totally different.
So the NCAA isn't on this, so they don't have power into Title IX,
and that is actually an investigation into the university. That's not an investigation into the athletic department.
Right.
I think that athletics is caught up in that investigation because it's a university wide problem. So, I think that's a whole separate issue. for LSU. I mean, these are the things that we were talking about on why LSU was behind on NIL. You know, when people ask why is LSU so far behind on NIL? Well, they had NIL in discussion that, I mean, it was just so far down the list. Should it have been? No, it should have been highly and higher prioritized. But really and truly, when you look at the stuff that was prioritized above it, where can you slot it? You know what I mean? You got Title IX, you got men's basketball, you got LSU football, you got you got personnel turnover, you got all types of stuff that's happening with the early days of Woodward. I mean, some things just can't get to, the top of the docket fast enough.
Do you think that Scott Woodward knew the mess that he inherited?
Yes, absolutely.
And it's unbelievable how much he loves LSU that he would still come to Baton Rouge and to LSU knowing I have to clean up a massive pile of shit that I didn't even do that. Who's shit in the living room? It wasn't me, but now I live in this house and I guess I'll start cleaning up.
It's Joe Oliva. Who are you looking for, Scott?
He's on hole 8.
Yeah, right. He's laying out in his backyard in the middle of the day.
What a gig.
It was a great gig for Oliva. I mean, I think that he was the most surprised guy in the room that he even got the job at the time, coming off of the Duke scandal.
Yeah, he smelled like
he was trying to get out of
Frosties.
He was trying to get out of he was trying to get out of Duke as fast as possible. He never thought that
covered in glitter.
Never thought he'd get a job in the SEC. LSU hires him after Skip Burtman. I mean, you got Herb Vincent, who's a finalist for the job. I think
should have got it.
I think there were a couple of people, within that selection committee that they were trying to get away from LSU people, right? Like and there's a feeling of two camps there on whether or not you are supportive to local people who are familiar with LSU, or you're looking to bring an outsider in. If you look at Brian Kelly, outsider, right? Brought in by an insider for a guy like Scott Woodward. LSU, during that time, hired Joe Oliva when they had probably the best insider that they could have imagined, Herb Vincent, who really wanted the job. They passed him over for just a complete and just an imbecile, in Oliva. And he could not have been paired with a dumber head coach in Les Miles to go on, what was a 6-year run of those two just trying to figure out ways on how to screw the place up. So that was a lot of what the mess is being cleaned up now are from those days. Remember Morales Roll-Offs. If you're looking for Morales Roll-Offs, they are located on Airline Highway, right across from the Industrialplex entrance over there on Airline. The phone number is simple, 225-427-0000, 225-427-0000. Roll-off dumpsters for the greater Baton Rouge area. They provide dumpster rentals for residential and commercial needs in Baton Rouge and surrounding areas. They are a division of Morales, Inc., and well-established construction and remodeling company with an impeccable reputation here in Baton Rouge. They understand the game. If you are a contractor and you're looking to maybe get a new roll-off company, established a new roll-off contact, you've already got your guy, but you got some jobs and operating, and you got an opportunity to use somebody else, get over to Morales Roll-Offs and let them take care of you today. From 10-yard dumpsters to 40-yard dumpsters, they can help you move in anything like your waste on job sites to concrete to large appliances, whatever it may be. Get in touch with them online at moralesrolloffs.com. That is moralesrolloffs.com over on Airline Highway. Phone number is 225-427-0000. We will talk to Kim Mulkey coming up here at 8 o'clock this morning. Man, I hope Mulkey gets the National Coach of the Year. There would be nothing funnier than her to be passed over for the SEC Coach of the Year like she was after the greatest turnaround in SEC women's basketball history. I mean, like, Dawn Staley getting that trophy is an absolute joke for that thing not going to Mulkey.
With that, I'm with you, but isn't there an argument to be made that she is the Coach of the Year? Dawn Staley, putting together, being number one, staying number one, being the number one overall seed. I know it's doing what you're supposed to do, but if there was no Kim Mulkey, I would imagine she would be a clean sweep.
Sure. No, I get that. You're the number one team. You were pretty much number one wire to wire. You were a marked team everywhere you went. You're getting everybody's best punch. But that's not surprising anybody. You know what I mean? You lived up to your expectation, right? Kim Mulkey and LSU totally flipped expectation on its head and had the greatest turnaround, not only in the individuals program's history, but the history of the conference. If that is not enough to be deemed the SEC Coach of the Year, I get it. Dawn Staley is a good basketball coach, and her team was number one for pretty much the entire season, won every game she was supposed to, but I mean, she did what she was supposed to do, right? Like, I mean, Kim Mulkey surprised and shocked everybody by taking last year's team who won 9 overall games and making them the 2 seed in the Southeastern Conference tournament the next season. I mean, that is what coaching of the year looks like. That's what SEC coach of the that's what you're looking for when you bring a coach in and ask them to turn it around. So, look, I know that she's not caught up in another trophy that she can add to her case, and it's not that big of a deal in the grand scheme of it. I just think it would be hilarious if she got the national coach of the year and didn't get her own conference as coach of the year. And yesterday you saw The Athletic, which is a great source for news. We talk to Brody Miller and guys like Bruce Feldman all the time here talking and breaking down college football, and they write for The Athletic, and they do great work. But The Athletic has a group of women's college basketball writers who cover the sport who voted on their national coach of the year yesterday, and it was Mulkey in a runaway. So, I know that's not the award that everybody's looking for, or that may not be the national award that comes with all the cachet, but there still is a group of people who are recognizing what Mulkey has done here in Baton Rouge in just one season. I mean, I was up in her office yesterday and getting some basketball signed for a local group here this weekend who's doing some charity work, and she had the number one player in the country on the phone, just sitting there talking back and forth. And it was so easy to watch that. You know what I mean? Like, she was talking to her like she was, a friend, like she was sitting in the room. Like, I mean, it was so natural, and you could hear the comfort level that the player had as well in talking to her. So, I mean, just year one, seeing the turnaround, and now thinking about what it's going to be like once she brings her players in and potentially number one overall players in the country, like she's on the phone with. So what happens when she gets all her players here and they're expected to win, and she goes wire to wire, then the number one team? Is that going to be when people start to recognize, okay, maybe she's the SEC coach of the year? Yeah, right.
But that's what I was going to ask you. Do you think if she wins that one game against the head-to-head with Dawn Staley, that she gets the award if she's able to beat just Dawn Staley?
Maybe. I think that
because that's the only head-to-head that they have, obviously, to compare them. And if she can get that one win, maybe like, oh, she's the SEC Coach of the Year, because there's one bugaboo you can point to for Dawn Staley, and it's Kim Mulkey in your own conference.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I mean, I think that, look, Staley's the gold standard.
Right.
I mean, she's kind of, she's the measuring stick for what other coaches will be governed by in this league. And obviously she's done a great job. She's done an incredible job of really putting teams together, recruiting. And it's hard to have the best team in the sport and be the best team in the sport.
Right.
It really is. I mean, that is tough to do. So respect for that. But it's also really harder to have a shitty team and turn it around. You know what I mean? Like, turn it completely around. Not like, from 9 wins to 25 wins. From last in the league to second in the league. From not making the tournament to a top 16 seed. I mean, stuff that you're just like, wow. I mean, this is incredible.
And there's one thing that you can point to.
Yeah.
And
I mean, there's one difference.
Right.
There's one difference. All right, so good stuff. So we'll talk to Mulkey coming up here at 8 o'clock. We will talk to her at 8 a.m. this morning, get her thoughts on Selection Sunday. Was she trying to get thrown out of the game?
I think so.
Technical foul. We'll ask her that. I think that there was intimidation. I didn't know that the Alabama coach got thrown out the next game. And it was like she had asked for, where was the ball going to be inbounded, but she was just like yelling for it. After Mulkey mother F's the referees, gets in a face. I mean, like, that guy was so intimidated, he didn't even look at her.
No.
He wouldn't make eye contact with her.
Looked like
he was intimidated. Kramer. He was scared. I mean, he was
poor Kramer.
Poor Kramer. You got to look at what happens when Kim is on one. That's like, oh, goodness.
Jeez.
Then look at my feet.
So we'll ask her if she thought she was going to get thrown out.
All right, Mom, I'll wear that shirt.
Yeah, thank you.
I got it.
Take the trash and I'll do it right now.
So we'll talk to Kim coming up here at 8 a.m. And then Bj Ojulari is going to be in studio, so we'll talk more LSU football coming up here at 8:30.
Has she been tossed before?
We'll ask her. Yes, I mean, I'd imagine. She's been coaching very long. I mean, that temper.
Did she get tossed or just teed up?
She just got teed up on something.
Okay, so I don't think she's ever been tossed. You got to get double T's.
You're telling me in her career you've never think she's been tossed? She's been coaching for 20 years.
I don't think she has. I think we would have.
That would be.
No, I have it up.
That would be incredible if she is not.
I don't think she has.
The dude, the ref didn't even look like
he wouldn't look at her.
He just walked away.
No, he wouldn't look at her. I mean, he was totally.
She said she was going to do it.
Yeah. It didn't.
Oh goodness.
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah. She's awesome.
Yeah, she is, man. She's definitely gotten thrown out. I mean, are you kidding me? Look at that.
I think
early days at Baylor, somebody was like, I'm not putting up with this.
That would be the only thing.
She's probably been put out of like bitty basketball games.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Early on for sure.
I can respect that.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Thank you. I've been waiting on it all day.
Just put a waiter order in.
All right, so we were monitoring and looking at this Tyrann Mathieu situation. Seems like it really is maybe trending towards New Orleans, which would be incredible. I mean, it's amazing to even think about the possibility of this. And this is a Bleacher Report from yesterday. And I know that, look, this isn't the groundbreaking news outlet that you're looking for, but I mean, there was a lot of chatter around this, and Mathieu, if nothing else, has really recognized on like social media that he, I mean, he's not shying away from it. He's liking all these pictures that have him in Saints gear. CD Deuce is like really pushing for, a defensive backfield that would feature Chauncey Gardner-Johnson and Tyrann Mathieu. And then, we just kind of glossed over it over the last couple of days because news has been so big around here. But the Saints didn't use the franchise tag. They didn't use it on Teron Armstead. And most notably for this situation, they didn't use it for Marcus Williams. So whether they're going to re-sign or try and create a long-term deal with one of those guys is still a possibility, but one of them is going to walk. They're not signing both if they didn't franchise tag one of them, right? So if it was, if we're just playing GM here, to me it would probably make more sense to let Teron Armstead walk because of just where he is in his career, the football that you've already gotten out of him, the football that he has left in front of him, and the price tag that he's going to demand for this final part of his career. Look, this is going to be his last contract. He's probably shooting for the stars. There's teams out there that need experienced offensive linemen, most notably people like Cincinnati, teams that we know. And, I mean, this offensive line with a guy like Ryan Ramczyk, who you can, easily shift over to the left side, makes some sense. It's just as far as the personnel that you already have on hand, how financially strapped you are, which, the Saints are like plus 60 million over the salary cap. I imagine they get it right just because of who they are and how they've done it in years past. But I mean, they are, they are definitely, they're definitely going to have to make some moves as far as the salary cap goes. So what's that do to Marcus Williams? Does he get a long-term deal? Who knows? But Tyrann Mathieu's in the market. He's on the market. And it looks as if Lloyd just flashed the tweet up on YouTube of, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, CD
Wants
Deuce.
to give him 7. Taysom Hill out of here. Sorry. That's Tyrann's number.
Well, I guess you could do the double number in the NFL where you have the offense.
I don't think
defense.
anybody's done that yet because he's on special teams too. Taysom's everywhere.
Yeah.
I don't know if you could do.
Tyrann doesn't play special teams.
No, but I'm just saying, I don't think you can do the double number in the NFL.
I think you do. I think you do the offense defense.
It's never happened.
Really?
No.
I mean, last year was the first year they had the single-digit number. So
yeah.
Well, no, that wouldn't matter. I mean, I guess it would. It changed the position specifics of where the numbers could be, but I don't think it's ever happened before. But also the fact that he's like, Taysom Hill is on the team wearing 7. He's like, no. If Tyrann Mathieu comes here, he's 7 in NOLA, and that would be the hottest selling jersey. Oh. I mean, it would break probably. It would probably be the number 1 selling jersey in the NFL if he came back and got the black and gold in 7. And then, but the funniest thing about this is Harold Perkins hopped in. Yeah. He's the last one on the bottom.
I love that.
Just New Orleans everywhere.
I love that. So it'll be interesting. It's gonna be it's gonna be.
I don't think it's
fun.
Gonna happen.
Really? Yeah, I don't either. But it is fun to talk about, and it's fun to see that Matthew's in on it. Like if nothing else, it makes me think that if he's got a deal out there that comes in, and they're close, right? Like they're a couple I don't know, million
Make
off.
it
I don't
work.
know. You know what I mean? Like where you can make it work. I mean, I saw where Tyron was tweeting out. He's on like some private island right now. I mean, life is good for the Badger. He's made a lot of money. He is well respected in the league. He's had the title of the best safety in the league during his career. Maybe this makes some sense. But there was a time in his career where he couldn't come back to New Orleans.
Yep.
I mean, there was, if you remember when he was signing the free agent deal from Arizona to Houston, which was just a 1-year prove-it deal because he was injured his last year in Arizona. Houston signed him to a 1-year, just let's see where you are deal, and he had a great season there. He ended up becoming the leader in the locker room, took Houston to the playoffs that season. They got beat in the opening round, but, I mean, he really made an impact on Houston's roster. There was some discussion in that summer whether or not Matthew would be on the board for New Orleans, and I think they just took him off the board because it just wasn't going to be a safe place for him to live. And I think both Matthew and the Saints understood that. And if you remember when Will Smith was gunned down in the middle of the streets during French Quarter Fest a couple of years back, Matthew was very vocal about the killer, about knowing him growing up and the guy that he was and some of that came with the city of New Orleans. And look, a lot of those people started to talk about Matthew on social media about, him coming home and what that environment may have been like for him. And we all know Ty's story, right? You know where he comes from. You know where he was, what he was battling when he was in Baton Rouge, just 60 miles away from his hometown in New Orleans, the people that were coming back and forth and the people that LSU football had to put in place just to kind of monitor his friend circle and his influences. And even when he got into the NFL, I think that there was still a time period where there was concern on whether or not he could really, make his profession there, if he could do his job there and live in that city, just because he had some money, he was accessible. He lives a life where he's very out in the open. He's not hiding. You can really find Tyrann Mathieu in Kansas City. He's usually, serving food to the needy, or he's out and about in the community. I'd imagine if he was in New Orleans, that would be even more hyper of him, in his hometown. He's told us directly he wants to be the head coach at LSU. So maybe it's time to come start reestablishing yourself in South Louisiana. And maybe he's gotten past that point in his life where that's not a concern anymore. Or maybe that's always a concern. I don't know. I don't have the experience to talk, knowledgeably about something like that. I can just give you my feelings on it. But I know where that situation had stood in years past, and hopefully, of him playing in New Orleans is a possibility that all that stuff has kind of been put to bed or moved past that point where that's not as much as a threat anymore.
But you could see him setting himself up. If he truly believes that he wants to be the next head coach at LSU football, you could see him an avenue where he comes back to Louisiana, plays out his career in New Orleans. He's only 29. He could get like probably a 4-year deal. I don't know the cap situation, but it seems like the Saints are always able to wiggle out of that. But he sets himself up back in Louisiana, plays out the rest of his career in Louisiana, starts poking around LSU, starts kind of ingratiating himself into the program even more. And then I would imagine those roads are open. If he wants to come be a volunteer head coach, or not a head coach, but be a volunteer coach, help in the secondary and be around LSU, they'd be a fool to turn him down. And this also does double goodwill for the Saints, because this would right a lot of the wrongs in the past of not ever taking LSU players in the draft. If you could get
the alpha,
probably the guy on the Mount Rushmore of LSU football,
kidding,
and get him back in Louisiana, that would do a lot of goodwill for just LSU and Saints fans.
Zimbabwe heist inside of the bunker says, I don't think it would be safe for him in New Orleans. A lot of dudes in the hood that never made it out get jealous of those that do. Chili says the people of that area will have to get stuff squashed if it hasn't already been done so. Jeffrey says no TM7 in New Orleans. He needs to live his life outside of the city. So look, it's polarizing. What would you think? Was it? I don't know if that's a poll question.
I have one up right now.
What is it? Southern Eye Center poll question of the first hour. Remember, over at Southern Eye Center in Jefferson, on Jefferson Highway in Baton Rouge, if you mention the Jordy Culotta Show, they take 25% off their great sunglass selection over at Southern Eye Center on Jefferson Highway.
Oh, Southern Eye. So the Southern Eye poll question is, with 160 votes so far, in 30 minutes in, will anything happen to Will Wade and LSU basketball after receiving their notice of allegations? 66% say no, leaving 34% that say yes. So everybody's still in the Will Wade camp so far.
It's the only thing that makes me nervous about Wade in this scenario is LSU football's guilt. What is the level of LSU football in that notice of allegations, and how grimy is it for, the golden goose, the lottery ticket, the thing that funds everything?
It's
and
untouchable.
if there is any threat to that, I think that everything is in play to keep it safe, including Will Wade. And it may not make sense to people inside of the chat, and I get it, but I think that the NCAA is so hell-bent on trying to cause something for the LSU basketball program, most notably Wade, that I can see a scenario where if LSU moves on Wade, they can save themselves some grief in violations on the football program. And if that is a scenario that is possible, I do believe that, Will Wade could be in a pinch. But if you're just judging off where the LSU basketball program is now and where we were when we started the investigation, I don't think that anything's new. I don't think that there was anything that you'll find in the notice of allegations that was presented yesterday that you didn't already know. Will Joseph, Jordy, I'm sorry, but it feels like you were saying Wade is innocent. You protect your cash cow at all cost. I'm not saying that at all, Will. I'm just saying exactly what you just said. That if it comes down to protecting the cash cow, then you protect it at all cost. Then Wade he's somebody that you can turn over. But if you're just evaluating Wade on the basketball program, I don't think that there's anything in that notice of allegations that deemed he should be terminated or you should move on him. Because there's nothing that's come to light since all of this stuff has started. And like I said yesterday, if there's anything new in there, that would be the most surprising point for me, is that we have gotten through this process and we've heard everything that we've heard.
1,000,000 times over.
And that there is something new in there that damns Will Wade and nobody knows about it. That would be incredible to me in 2022. Just in the way that news is presented, just in the way that news is given. There's nobody in an organization like the NCAA that could keep that quiet and not float it or leak it to somebody like Pete Thamel or Pat Forty. Or somebody else, anybody else, to put the story out there. So if Wade has done anything new since the strong-ass offer, like I've heard like there is reports out there that he allegedly set up pay plans for 11 student athletes in 2020. Do you know how dumb Will Wade would have to be with the NCAA breathing down his neck, circling around his facility, living in his city, to set up pay plans for guys that didn't even go to LSU? Some of them didn't even go to LSU. You know how easy it would be to get somebody to roll on Wade in that scenario and light him up? You wouldn't have to go through this process where he's coaching more games and he's winning games and he's getting more 5 stars and doing all this stuff. You got one bird that sings on Wade saying that he set up a pay plan and I ended up at another school. It's over. It's over. Wade signed his life to that back in 2018 when they renegotiated the contract to get him reinstated. He knew the parameters in which he was going to have to play. He knew how he was going to have to operate. He knew that the NCAA and his own administration was breathing down his neck. 11 players, pay plans. Some of them he didn't even get. Come on, man. That's laughable. And again, in the notice of allegations, The NCAA has to prove that stuff was going on. It's fun to talk about it and say it and, write about it and say it at the parties and say it in the room that you think people are interested in talking about sports and stuff. But when it comes down to this part of the process, the NCAA, the IARP, whatever BBW, bro, they got to prove it.
Shout out.
They have to prove it. They have to say, this is when it happened. This was the account that it went into. This was the person that accepted it. This was the person that paid it. This is where, when, and how.
And then you still have to have them agree to it that it happened. You have to have actually physical proof or somebody to say or agree to or flip on Will Wade. Like that's what's gotten people caught in the past is the NCAA was able to find a guy that they could roll over and get them to basically squeal.
Yeah.
And as long as you have a tight ship, that shit don't fly.
All right, the Carpool Queen is here. We will get her onto the set and start the second hour. Kim Mulkey is going to be here to lead us off for the 8 o'clock hour here today. Remember, we are brought to you daily by our friends over at Barker Plumbing. Barker Plumbing and Works. Plumbing is located out in Plaquemine, Louisiana. They got 2 trucks in Baton Rouge every single day. You can get in touch with them. As we said, no social media, which I love, right? No social media for Barker Brothers Plumbing Works as they're just in too much demand. Get in touch with them. 776-2431. Lloyd, if we can put that phone number on the screen, that would be helpful because the phone number is the only way how they can get in touch with Jude and the Barker Brothers Plumbing Works business, and that is 225-776 2431.
2431.
Mention the Jordy Culotta Show and you get a 15% discount over at Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works. They are number 1 in a number 2 business. They specialize in all works of plumbing, industrial, commercial, residential, and backflow prevention. They employ 30 years of veterans, 30-year veterans of the plumbing game, and they also have the young and future up-and-coming plumbing force working with Barker Brothers Plumbing Works over in Plaquemine. Get in touch with them today, 225-776-2431, 225-776-2431. We'll be back with more of the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. Head coach of the women's basketball team, Kim Mulkey, will stop by here with Selection Sunday coming up this week. They will have a watch party inside the Maravich Center. Coach Mulkey can tell you how you can be a part of it. Coming up next here on the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet.
Do you do any tricks to memorize like numbers?
Yeah, players.
You do that too?
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay. That's what I do too. Do you do that? Like were you like
so that
jersey
would be
numbers?
776, Kobe Bryant, and Pig Cage.
Wow.
Oh,
I'm just trying to think of the
31. Dominic Davis.
Dominic Davis. There you go. There you go.
It's 7-7. Tyron.
Kobe Neek.
Rohan.
Kobe Neek. 225-776, Kobe and Neek.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah, we did. Yeah, we've been down this rabbit hole.
We've done this.
Where's our guy?
Kim Mulkey next. Baton Rouge, be on the lookout for the first annual Maddie's Footprints Forever Quarter Marathon 5K and 1 mile fun run and walk coming to Baton Rouge on Sunday, March 27th. If you're looking for more information, it's easy to get involved and register today. Get online at runsignup.com/footprintsforever. runsignup.com/footprintsforever. And be involved in this year's Maddie's Footprints Forever Quarter Marathon 5K and 1 mile fun run coming to Baton Rouge Sunday, March 27th. City Cafe online at citycafebr.net, where good friends meet. Great food and even better service, located in the shopping center behind Rite Aid on the corner of George O'Neill and O'Neill Lane. They cater for parties big and small. Sundays, they serve a fantastic brunch that starts at 10 a.m. They have daily lunch specials. And remember, you can look at everything online at citycafebr.net. We'll give a shout out to Squeaky Miranda, Cody Miranda, Dirk and the crew, everybody over at City Cafe for their support here, the Jordy Culotta Show, online, citycafebr.net. money for my trip over to Johnson and Spillers. Shout out to my friend Dr. Chad Spillers for taking care of me, man. I had to have my front tooth, a tooth implanted on my front tooth, and it was a hell of an ordeal, but Dr. Spillers and the crew from Johnson and Spillers made it as easy and seamless as possible to work with and have taken the final product, and it is absolutely beautiful. Learn more online at johnsonspillers.com. Whether you're looking for Botox or you need help in any type of dentistry, whether it is dentures, night guards, if you're looking for Invisalign, if you're interested in implant dentistry like I got, you can get in touch with Johnson Spillers. Online, johnsonspillers.com. 2 locations, one in Gonzales, one in Baton Rouge. Easiest way to get them, online at johnsonspillers.com.
The last thing we need.
Paint a smile on it.
Yeah.
He's just going to stare at a mirror
Johnson Spillers.
all day, every day.
Well, no,
now.
the Joker references again. This
Oh,
man,
yeah.
the
Those never
closet
stop.
who he wants to be.
Those never stop. I see all you nerds are dressed alike again today. So that's cool.
Oh, that's what I was hoping you'd grab a hat.
I have one at home. I didn't
Nerds.
know everybody was
Nerds.
wearing it today.
Nerds.
And we all
Katie,
went with
who
the,
are you?
We all went with the gray-black look, which I would say that your pants fit
Yeah,
right in
Yeah.
right
with the
in.
white look.
Yeah.
Nerd.
Nerd.
Yeah, nerd.
Welcome to the team. Welcome to Study Club.
Yeah, nerd.
Why are y'all so offended?
I've become the nerd of my life.
For real.
Really?
I have a 2-pant selection rotation.
You only have 2 pair of pants?
At this point, right now, I do.
Wait,
that I rotate.
why? Get to Harper's, Jordy.
The pants he's talking
And
about.
then probably 3 shirts, 2 hoodies. I love the BBW sweatshirt
BBPW.
It's
from our guy
BBW.
Jude. And then this has been a constant in the rotation for now over a year. But I mean, I probably wear the same thing 3 days a week.
Well, you have those black pants. You have the blue, softer ones that you wore
Yes, which I
yesterday,
love.
and you have the khaki ones
Which I
that
love.
kind of look like jeans.
Okay, so 3.
I don't know how I knew that. I feel like
Yeah, well, 'cause that proves he only has that many pairs of
does,
pants. He
I
has the
guess.
gray ones, and he has the velour, like the Viore soft pants
Yeah.
that are awesome.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if I've seen, and these are the zips.
Yeah.
Are those
Yeah.
Lulus?
These are Lulus.
Yeah.
Yep, we got you nailed.
We know too much
But
about
he
each
knows.
other.
I had a meeting at WBRZ yesterday, and when I walked in, Rocky Daboval asked me, "Are you cleaning the place?" I said, no, I hope to own the place. Actually, Rock, in my
Where's my office?
hoodie and my tennis shoes,
It's gonna be a little bit to shake this place up a
Jordan
little bit.
3s, Rocky. I mean,
What do you want from me?
my Sunday's best.
Hey, what's
don't put
our
these on for just
schedule
anybody.
Friday for Mic'd Up? People were asking like timing and all that.
3:30.
3:30 until
3:30, 5:30ish.
ish. Okay. There you go, Brian Burgess.
But we'll
Oh,
be there.
prayers up for
at
Brian
3:30.
Burgess.
Yes, I saw that in the chat. Brian, we'll be thinking about you.
Why? What's going on?
Some of this cardiovascular health.
A little health something going on
Brian,
today.
tough through it, bro. You'll be all right.
If it stops, just hit your chest real hard.
Yeah, right. Just pull the irons out.
Oh, no, don't do that again. I don't like it when you do that. No, I get scared when you do that. I don't like it.
All right,
Nerds.
something's going on with Kim Mulkey. No need to worry. She's got. I'd imagine that she'll probably update us in her press setting, but it sounds like personally that she had something happen. No, I don't, this is awkward. I don't mean to do this. She got some news from a family member of something that may have happened, and it was bad timing this morning. So she was not able to come on. And we will link up with her when the time is right. All of our prayers for her and her family, that everything is okay, and that she and her family and everything is safe over in Texas. So no Kim Mulkey this morning, but Coach Mulkey was obviously looking forward to Sunday's selection show, which will feature LSU, obviously, as Selection Sunday is coming up for women's basketball this weekend, and LSU will obviously be a huge part of that. Expected to be as high as a 2 seed by some selections, but nonetheless will definitely, it feel like, be a top 16 seed and host a couple of games on campus in the first couple of rounds from the NCAA tournament. So we will talk to Bj Ojulari coming up here at 8:30 this morning. We'll get back to a little bit of some LSU football conversation with Bj as he gets here, when he gets here, with what's been going on. As far as workouts are concerned, off-season workouts, what's been the return on the strength staff? Has he gotten a chance now to sit down with his new defensive coordinator and Coach House and learn some of the schemes and where they're going to use him? Some new personnel coming in. How good is that defensive line going to be? I mean, you think about this defensive line at LSU where they are right now, and you've got the top 3 defensive linemen in the state of Louisiana in the last 3 recruiting cycles, going back to Jaquelin Roy 3 years ago at University High, to Mason Smith 2 years ago at Terrebonne, to last season Quincy Wiggins over at Madison Prep, now playing on all the same unit. That's all now playing on LSU's defensive line. And one thing Orgeron did when he got the job is that he promised he was going to build back the lines of scrimmage. He hit a home run on the defensive line. And this year is probably really the fruits of that work coming to the forefront. I mean, as deep as this rotation is going to be, as many guys as they're going to have on that line, a lot of the credit really goes to Orgeron and that crew. Now, the offensive line problems, they deserve the same blame. They didn't fully restore the offensive line and defensive line and the line of scrimmage, but they really did a nice job on the defensive side. And BJ, obviously, is a headliner to that going into his 3rd season. He just got back from the NFL Combine. He was a guest of the NFL up in Indianapolis. We'll ask him about that experience and just what is his expectation for not only himself, but for LSU over the next 10 months under the direction of Brian Kelly. Remember Daily, we're brought to you by Cajun Ready Mix Concrete, CajunRMC.com. Get in touch with our friends over at Cajun Ready Mix Concrete. If you've got a project, no matter the project size, they can help you out today. It's not too big, it's not too small, residential, commercial, industrial, municipal. They got you taken care of. Cajun Ready Mix has 9 certified concrete plants around the greater Baton Rouge area. You ask Jordy, what the hell does that mean to me? It means if you order concrete, it'll be to your project on time and to the exact specification. They can help you out with that over at Cajun Ready Mix Concrete. They are the leader in concrete around the area. They have high-quality products, grade A equipment, clear safety standards, and red carpet service. That's what you get when you call our friends over at Cajun Ready Mix. Online, best way to get them, CajunRMC.com, CajunRMC.com. Call them this morning if you need to, 225-372-5060. 372-5060 is the phone number to get in touch with our friends over at Cajun Westbrook.
What?
Westbrook. I was just looking at this. At CajunReadyMix.com.
I mean, he is building bricks over
Mark
there.
Cumby says, so Russell Westbrook's new nickname is Russell Westbrook, and he's laughing about it.
Get your concrete from RMC. Cajun RMC.
Brandon Dixon, Jordy asked Bj Ojulari how good Savion Jones is going to be. We'll continue to do that. We will ask him about that. Rico Delgado, when Kamara is found guilty, are you going to take that stand-up down? No, we will not, and he will be innocent. Get
Free
out
him.
Rico.
Free him.
Free him.
Short nerd.
What if Rico was the one in the elevator? Could be him. You never know.
Shit, that ain't Rico, bro. He don't want none of that smoke. I can promise you that. He ain't picking fights with Kamara. I mean, he don't want none of that smoke, dude.
Rico, is that you?
Panamsky is his boy, he says.
He always says that.
Okay, well, then get him on the show.
Prove it.
Yeah, right. Prove how tall you are, too, man.
Did y'all hear that a woman has sued Jerry Jones alleging that he is her biological father?
25?
Yes. In the doc.
25-year-old?
She's
25 years
25
old,
years
yeah.
old. Yep.
That would be in the heyday of. I mean, Jerry was probably running around.
96.
Yeah, I
when
mean, they
she
were
was-
winning Super Bowls left and right. You know, they probably slid in anywhere.
Yeah.
Just after the Super Bowl. You know what I mean?
Oh.
Just after the Super Bowl push, he was still kind of living off the flames of Super Bowl winning owner, new Super Bowl winning owner, Jerry
Hottest
Jones.
ticket in town. Jerry Jones
Exactly.
is the
I
man.
wonder what he looked
Absolutely.
like in 96. I
A
need to
lot
know.
better than he does now.
Yeah, got to, but I still kind of need to know.
Was he still salting the?
Oh, absolutely. That's a
Definitely.
habit
That's
that
not
dies
something.
hard.
That's not something you learn later in life.
Definitely.
That's an entire life habit.
the
But
mom
the story
had to-
goes. Go ahead.
Yeah.
25-year-old woman filed a lawsuit Thursday alleging that Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones is her biological father. Natalie, I'm not trying to check out. You want to take a stab at this?
Wait,
You
I
wanna
don't
take a
see.
shot at
I don't
this?
know the name. I don't see that.
It is spelled.
Wait, it's not Alexandra Davis?
Yeah, it's Alexandra Davis.
That's her name.
Oh, I'm sorry. The reporter of the Dallas Morning
Oh,
News,
okay.
Natalie
Oh, I'm reading it on ESPN, an article
of the Dallas
by
Morning
Don.
News reported that Alexandria Davis filed a lawsuit, which right now is temporarily sealed.
Jerry. Look at this man, Jerry, getting it.
That's him?
That's not
Wait,
25 years ago.
No, that might be last night.
Wait a minute. That's not real.
Freak man Jerry.
Real.
That is
that-
real.
is that real?
That's 100% real.
It's definitely real.
Who are those women?
Well,
You never know.
you never know. They're rich now.
Can you find 1996
Yes,
Jerry?
I have 1996
Okay.
Jerry pulled up.
But he only paid her $375,000. I feel like I would demand a lot more than that
Well,
from
then,
him, right?
in 96 is probably a lot of money.
I guess, but was that all? Did he only pay her the one time to sign the confidentiality agreement? I would at least ask for $1 million in 96.
Well, I feel like Jerry knows how to negotiate quite well.
Do we have a
I'm
picture
sure.
of Alexandria?
No, I looked for one last night to see what he was, see what he's into.
Yeah.
That's the daughter.
Alexandria
though.
Davis is.
That's the daughter, not
Well,
the mom.
Sex addict addicted to sex.
That would be a good representation of what the mother looked like
It's
25 years ago.
Cynthia is the mom.
Cynthia
I don't know. I'm looking.
Harris
Must be Davis.
Davis.
Oh, yeah, I guess it would be.
Alexandria Davis's lawsuit is intended to determine that she is not legally bound by previous agreements between Jones and her mother. She is also looking for a ruling that such agreements are unenforceable in the state of Texas. Court document said Cynthia was
Davis Spencer.
was estranged from her husband when she eventually struck up a relationship with Jerry Jones. Alexandra was born December 16th, 1996, and her parents filed for divorce shortly thereafterward. According to documents and genetic testing, determined that Cynthia's husband was not Alexandria's father, which meant he did not have to pay child support following the divorce. As far as Jones, he and his wife, Jean, have been married since 1963. Court documents said the financial support that Jones provided the Davises would be cut off if they publicly revealed that he was the father. He could also sue if there was a breach in that agreement. According to the lawsuit, Jones has never met Alexandra, even though they have been in contact with Cynthia, the mother. It remains unclear why Alexandria filed the lawsuit now. Does it?
Does it?
But it said the only time that she revealed her father's identity was to the FBI in clearance to work for the White House for then President Donald Trump.
Oh, of course.
There is a scheduled hearing for March 31st inside of the Dallas courtroom.
Yeah, she seems fine. Like, she's had a fine life and she's successful. She's living in D.C. I mean, she need money that bad? Is this just a money grab? Or is it more emotional?
Well, I think it's a loophole because she can bring it's probably her mother in her ear being like, we could sue Jerry Jones for all he's worth. We only got $375,000. Here's our way to do it. But I feel like they've probably been pulling at Jerry's coach for a while. If she works in the White House, I would imagine Jerry and Donald probably run in the same circle.
Yeah.
They seem like they
do.
get along.
Same interest.
Same interest.
They
Yeah.
seem like they get down.
Big oil guys.
They seem the same, like the same person, kind of, yeah.
So I'm sure Jerry got her that job. I would imagine it at least pulled some. It's
you
hard to
think
get into
so?
the White House. I
Sure.
think.
But I don't know. I don't think he had anything to do with her at
Yeah,
all.
I mean, it is tough to get somebody a job of nobody you've ever spoke to.
Well, the mom.
I
possibly.
guess.
Like,
She
you have a
worked at
daughter.
the American Airlines ticket counter in Little Rock. He definitely didn't meet her there.
Wow.
Yeah,
Maybe
he
he
definitely met her
did.
there.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
He's
he's an
he was flying
Arkansas
private.
alum.
huge in Little Rock.
I know, but he was flying private. You think
Exactly.
He met her?
He was walking through to his private jet and said, "Who's that?" That's Cynthia. Tell Cynthia she can ride on the jet.
You're coming with me.
Yeah,
Right.
I need pictures.
Have you ever been a stewardess? Was it stewardess? What's the
It's
proper
flight
term?
attendant.
Flight attendant.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thought it was stewardess.
What's
Well,
a
it
stewardess?
was
What is
back
a
in the
stewardess?
80s.
All of Stewie's girls are stewardess.
Exactly.
love
Exactly.
that.
The stewardess.
I love that. Do you give everybody
appreciate that.
wings after they visit you?
I'm about to start buying
Here's your
wings.
parting gift.
Got to mark them.
It's like the Derek Jeter basket. You've earned your wings. Get up there and fly, young lady.
Is that a red
That's
wing?
awesome.
More scarier news that happened around the former Dallas Cowboys story. Did you see this story on Deion Sanders?
The leg.
He got
The
two
toes.
toes amputated.
We talked about that the other day, right?
Did we talk about the toes being amputated? I know that
Well,
we
I
talked
said it,
about
and y'all were
the.
like, yeah, he had toes amputated.
I knew
And I
that
was
he-
like,
yeah.
oh, I didn't know.
No, I knew that he had surgery, but then the complications to the surgery have now in turn caused two toes to be amputated off the best cornerback of all time's body. I mean, like, this is it's a pretty scary story. I mean,
Why were they amputated?
because
Blood
of that was blood clots because of that surgery that we were the one that he was being wheeled around in the
Yeah.
last football game. I mean,
So it's a complication.
he had
from
an
that?
emergency surgery for something that was going on with his foot, and it was something that he was trying to clear up. Now, post surgery, he's had some problems with blood clotting, and it got so severe that they had to amputate two of his toes.
That would be the worst.
Oh my! I mean, especially for somebody like Deion Sanders,
Yes.
who his entire life has probably. I mean, he's probably never stretched a day in his life. As soon as he jumps out of bed, he's sprinting. You know, what I mean, he's backpedaling out of his shower, and now at however old he is, to have two toes amputated it's a scary story. First and foremost, it sounds like he's going to be
Look at
okay.
his leg.
Yeah, he almost had to have his
Jeez.
leg amputated.
Wow.
Oh man.
Courtesy of Barstool Sports,
Ooh,
shout out. They
that's
do
rough.
that documentary, but they that was the more disconcerting part because I'd known about the toes.
Damn.
Because that was when it was from his playing days. He was from cutting and moving and all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So the way like the cornerback position, a lot of people have feet problems.
Yeah, bad.
at the end of their tenure or whatever. So he had surgery to get those fixed. I think the blood clot issue is more related to the leg that we just saw, which is horrifying.
That looked filthy.
For one of the just because of who it is, they're one of the greatest athletes probably of all time. And now
If I'm
he
taking
can't
two
do it.
toes, if I'm taking two toes away from you, which two am I taking? Your choice.
Middle
The
two.
end.
No,
Middle
you
two?
need the middle. You need the ends for balance.
You need
So then you just have a huge gap.
How do you bounce? With the middle two
toe.
to kind of be jumping, huh?
Yeah,
I'm trying
I'm
to-
not jumping anywhere anymore.
Yeah.
If you had to choose between two fingers or two toes,
Two toes.
Two
Two
toes.
toes.
Can I get
Two
a finger and a
toes.
toe?
Which finger would
I
you
said
give
two
up?
fingers or two toes.
Can you go each?
Had
Wait,
to.
does it have to be on the same foot or hand?
Which finger? I mean, I guess.
Yeah, same foot, just like his. Two toes, or you have the choice for two fingers.
I mean, is it this finger? Is it the ring finger?
think you're
I
last.
went to high school with a set of twins, and their dad was missing like I think these two, and
Yeah.
Middle
he pitched in college,
wow.
and he's
Like the
lefty.
whole finger,
just
or
The whole
like down
finger.
to
It's
the
like a
knuckle?
Change
nub.
ups all day,
It's like
coach.
two nubs.
Yeah.
Yeah, and shout out to Mr. Brent.
So
That's
he's
my guy.
literally throwing knuckleballs.
Yeah, well, he was a good pitcher. They say.
It definitely couldn't be the big toe.
Can't lose the big toe.
Can't
No
lose the
big
big
toe.
Yeah,
one.
how do you even? But you can
'Cause
get
you couldn't walk.
prosthetics, right? Do they do that now?
No,
know
there's
that.
no. You have to rough it.
I don't
You
know
do. Oh, just in our scenario, you mean?
for our own for the
Okay.
game.
Yeah,
Like,
that's a
wait,
great poll question.
It is.
But there might be somebody out there who did have to amputate fingers or toes, though.
That's it. Well, yeah. Tell us the struggle. Tell us which one. Tell us
Yeah.
how hard your life is without your toes or your
That's
fingers.
true.
Jedi 517 just super chatted $2 and said he just sent the link. Just sent a link that has pics.
Where'd you send it, Jedi?
Pics of
Pics of what?
Is it toe pics?
Pics of how
Please
short
no.
Rico is.
It
Larry's
must
the
be
foot
Jerry.
guy. I
It
would
must be
expect
Jerry
it from-
Jones and his alleged family.
Where did
Pics.
you? Yeah, tell us where you sent him. I'll pull him up.
It's like we're waiting for him to tell us.
Another story for LSU football. BJ just texted he's not coming in the studio. We're going to call
No
him on the
way.
phone.
Oh, dang it. What's
bro.
happening
I
with
don't
people?
know. I
They're
don't know.
dropping
I don't
like
know.
flies
The show's falling
today.
apart right now. But BJ's still going to be on the phone. We're still going to be able to talk to him over the phone.
your shows. falling apart.
A big one today for LSU to watch out for, and we talked a little bit about this at the beginning of the show. LSU is welcoming in the top offensive lineman in the transfer portal. They are welcoming in today to campus Tyler Steen, who is a guy who has 30 starts coming over from Vanderbilt after the last 3 years. LSU, as you know, has 3 scholarships remaining in the 2022 cycle as the staff continues to pour into the transfer portal looking for players that they can count on. As we said, Steen started over 30 games with Vanderbilt. He has experience at playing both the right and left tackle. LSU is looking to replace 4 of the team's 5 offensive line starters from last season. Obviously, Brian Kelly has had some scholarship in recruiting the transfer portal as Tremont Shorts came over from Tremont Shorts came over from East Tennessee, and Miles Frazier came over from Florida International within the recruiting cycle. They've also got guys like Emory Jones and Will Campbell that are in this recruiting class that seem to be, at some point in their freshman season, going to be ready to play. If they are able to land Tyler Steen, that will be an amazing turnaround in personnel on the offensive line in just one recruiting season for Brian Kelly. They hadn't even played a game yet. And for him to turn around that offensive line the way that he has, with bringing in some guys out of the transfer portal, keeping those high-level recruits like Jones and Campbell, and then being able to possibly land Steen, who's the number 1 player in the portal right now, would be an incredible get for Kelly, the offensive line, Brad Davis, Mike Denbrock, and the offensive staff if they were able to land him. Now, Steen does have one more official visit. He's taken visits to a couple of schools already, like NC State and Tennessee. He will be at LSU Thursday and Friday on an official visit to LSU, and then he's got one more official waiting the weekend of March 25th. He will be at Alabama, and that will be his last official visit, and then he'll make his choice shortly thereafter. So LSU's got an opportunity here to recruit Steen and see if they are able to land another offensive lineman. I think it's easy from LSU's recruiting pitch standpoint. You want to play? LSU's got playing time on the offensive line. How much does playing mean to you? Because you can come in and almost pick your spot where you want to play on this offensive line right now if you're Tyler Steen. So we'll wait and see. This is a huge one for LSU. If they're able to land him, that would be enormous for LSU to get another offensive line with his type of experience coming in with the ability to play immediately. That would be a hell of a turnaround for Brad Davis, Brian Kelly before spring to get Steen in. Remember, daily, we're brought to you by Relief Med, RELEAFmed.com. Jordy1 is a promo code over there. Medical marijuana legalized now in the state of Louisiana. If you want to pick up your recommendation today, it's very easy. All you need to do is log online to Relief Med, RELEAF med.com, RELEAF med.com is where you want to find Relief Med online. Make sure and use the promo code Jordy1. They can get you in today. Pick up some new product that they got for the weekend. When you mention Jordy1, if you use that promo code, they'll take 20% off of your initial visit over to Relief Med. RELEAF med.com online. ReliefMed.com online is where you can find them. Make sure and use the promo code. We will talk to Bj Ojulari coming up here in the next segment as BJ is getting ready for spring football. We'll ask him about some of those new guys on the defensive line, some of the new coaches, and what he expects with spring practice right around the corner. You're listening to the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet every single day.
Did you get the link?
No, I haven't gotten it yet, but I did read that actually the most important finger, obviously the thumb, but the one that you want to get rid of is your pointer finger.
Really?
Actually, the other three can kind of do the job for you.
Oh.
I'm thinking like, throwing,
Right.
picking up, like I'm holding,
Yeah, you don't need this. You don't need this sucker. But the pinky, a lot of people said, don't get rid of that. Yeah, you need it. You lose all your grip strength without your pinky. Yeah.
Oh, that's weird.
Yep. So that's from a surgeon.
Interesting.
The more you know. In case you're ever in that scenario.
Yeah, we have to choose.
to
Someone
choose.
makes you choose between your fingers.
That would be a very nice assailant or captor. Be like, oh, I'll
Wouldn't
let
it
you
be?
pick which
Oh,
finger.
what do you want me to cut off?
Which one do you want to lose? Like, okay,
Oh, that's very sweet of
that'd be
you.
nice of you.
Shout out to Tom Granning from everybody over here at FM Digital Media, as he is our fuel sponsor. Whether it's fuel cards or snacks, he's keeping us going every day at FM Digital Media. If you're out on Highway 61, make sure and stop in and see him over at Go Mart. It is located in Natchez, Mississippi. It is our favorite convenience store, and it's for our guy Tom Granning, who supports us every day over here at FM Digital Media. City Cafe online at citycafebr.net, where good friends meet. Great food and even better service, located in the shopping center behind Rite Aid on the corner of George O'Neill and O'Neill Lane. They cater for parties, big and small. Sundays, they serve a fantastic brunch that starts at 10 a.m. They have daily lunch specials. And remember, you can look at everything online at citycafebr.net. We'll give a shout out to Squeaky Miranda, Cody Miranda, Dirk and the crew, everybody over at City Cafe for their support here, the Jordy Culotta Show, online, citycafebr.net. All right, personal testimony from my trip over to Johnson Spillers. Shout out to my friend, Dr. Chad Spillers, for taking care of me, man. I had to have my front tooth, a tooth implanted on my front tooth, and it was a hell of an ordeal, but Dr. Spillers and the crew from Johnson Spillers made it as easy and seamless as possible to work with, and have taken the final product, and it is absolutely beautiful. Learn more online at johnsonspillers.com. Whether you're looking for Botox or you need help in any type of dentistry, whether it is dentures, night guards, if you're looking for Invisalign, if you're interested in implant dentistry like I got, you can get in touch with Johnson Spillers. Online, johnsonspillers.com. 2 locations, one in Gonzales, one in Baton Rouge. Easiest way to get them, online at johnsonspillers.com.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
Oh, this you crazy mother.
All right, welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. LSU Football has really put together an impressive roster in a short time under Brian Kelly here, whether it was the transfer portal, recruiting. They've got a really good class coming in. Some of them will be there for spring ball, but one of the things that you know is that they've got some veterans on that defensive line. They've got some veterans inside that locker room, and they're led by Bj Ojulari, who is one of the standout defensive ends in college football. One of the best in the SEC. You can see the respect that the NFL and the NCAA have for him, as he was a guest last week of the NCAA at the NFL Combine. They want to say, I'd imagine that they want players that are going to be there in the near future to see it. And BJ was one of the guys that was up there taking it all in. He is a great friend of our show, and he is back with us here on this Thursday morning. What's up, big fella? Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. I'm feeling good. How are you?
Doing good, man. Doing good. First, take me to Indianapolis. How cool was that experience?
It was a great experience, being my first time going to Indy, traveling, going to the NCAA headquarters, and just, retaining so much knowledge from all the meetings and the combine. So it was a great experience.
Who else was there with you? Was it more players from the SEC, more from around college football? How was the day? How was the schedule?
Yeah, it was players from, Florida, South Carolina, Ohio State. It was players from all over.
What was some of the information that you took away from it?
We spoke with the NFLPA. We talked about how to handle ages and stuff like that. They also talked about the draft process, of what teams look at, social media, marketing, how they research you before they make decisions. We also did mock interviews. That was very, very helpful to see how teams are going to approach you in that kind of manner.
you've gotten kind of a leg up on that, or at least a head start, right? I mean, has NIL given you guys an opportunity to kind of go through the process of, or at least meeting the marketing reps within some of these agencies like you guys have?
Most definitely. With the NIL space, you can see what an agency can offer you going into the next level. So with this, it's just a great, heads up to that before going to the next level.
BJ, this team, Coach Kelly, Brian Kelly, obviously going into his first spring practice, which you guys will crank up in a couple of weeks on the Ponderosa, and going into his first season, which you guys will open up in August in the Louisiana Superdome versus Florida State, has really done a pretty good job of putting a roster together that looked decimated in the bowl game. What has it been like to be a part of LSU football the past couple of months and all the crazy things that has been happening as you guys head into spring football here in a couple of weeks?
I think the team adjusted well, to the new culture that we're trying to build with Coach Kelly. So working with the coach staff, Coach Flint, he did an amazing job getting us ready for the first week of spring. So, but with the roster, I think he did a great job as well. We got new guys like, Kyron, we got Kyle, we got Derek coming out the transfer portal, making a great addition to the defense and the offense. And I think everybody's meshing well and having a good vibe and having good team chemistry.
BJ, that's a tough position to crack into as the head strength coach at a Division I program when a guy like Moffitt was so embedded into the program. I mean, it seemed like his culture was really one of the faces of when you thought of LSU football. I thought of Tommy Moffitt. How did Coach Flint come in and create to build those relationships? Because I've talked to a couple of players, and it seems like all of you guys are very impressed by the way that he has not just the workouts, but just has approached you guys and started to build the relationships with you.
Yes, sir. I think he came in, he was just himself. He didn't try to, imitate nobody or try to change what he knows just because he's at a different school. So I think him coming in December during the bowl game time really helped acclimate us to him and the workout schedule and the workout plan and what plan he has for us going forward as well. So everybody's on the same page to see the same vision that Coach Kelly has. So Coach Flint, he's doing a great job of getting us ready for the SEC.
What about your defensive line coach, Coach Kane? He still looks like he can kick some ass.
Oh, yes, sir, most definitely.
I mean, dude, you've played for Andre Carter, who looks like he can still get sacks in the league, and Kane looks like he could beat all y'all up in a cage, bro. I mean, that guy looks like he can still get after it. What's the relationship building process with him?
We just recently started to get into more meetings and more individual drills. So we're still seeing how he is on the field. So we're still getting acclimated to him a little bit, but he has a lot of energy as well. You can see that. And, come from Oklahoma, developing guys like Nick Benito, last year. So he definitely has the capability to do stuff like that. So I think it's going to be a great season for the defensive line.
How about your conversations with Coach House, your new defensive coordinator? Have you had a chance to sit down with him, and have they expressed to you how they want to use you here in your money year?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. I love Coach House. I love the vision he has for the defense. He's planning to use me, rush me off the edge, drop some. This year I'm mostly going to be, standing up. So that's going to be, better for me to put some of that kind of tape on, put that kind of film, put it on tape. So I'm very excited about what he has in store for us in the defense. But yeah, he talked to me about, little things I have to get right before I can, transition to the next level, like, get my weight up and stuff like that to be more efficient to play SEC ball.
I've seen mock drafts that have you in the top 10. I've seen mock drafts that have you the number one pass rusher coming off the board next spring. What are your expectations for yourself in your third season of college football?
Really going to this season, I just want to play the best ball I can, put my team in the best position they can to win, and the rest will take care of itself.
Is this the best defensive line you've ever played on? Personnel-wise?
Just the best. Personnel-wise, I can't really say right now. I can only make that decision after the season and evaluating like how we played as a group and as a unit.
How about Coach Kelly? What's it been like under his direction the past couple of weeks, months, and now it seems like he's kind of getting his culture established in the building in and around the program? How has that been?
It's been real good. He's giving us more leeway, to make our own decisions. People are being more accountable. We have a point system and SWAT leaders and stuff like that, teams. So there's more accountability in the locker room now. So guys are stepping up and making better choices. So this being under him has been a very great experience.
BJ, we've got a couple of funny questions coming in here this morning from a couple of listeners. How many fourth graders do you think it would take to beat you up?
I'll say about 25.
Okay, then we had the number on
20,
25.
yeah.
I thought that you would just start swimming across their heads, kind of like a swim move to get off the ball and just knocking them out like dominoes. Would you rather lose 2 fingers or 2 toes?
2 toes.
Okay, very
Which
quick.
2 toes, though?
Very
Which
quick on the
2
answer.
toes?
Do you have an idea of which 2 you would lose?
I'll probably lose my pinky and then the one next to it.
Yeah.
The one next to it.
Sneaky
Wait,
on the
you don't
pinky,
want to
watch
do.
out.
You could go straight
ring
JPP
toe?
though. There's a place for you in the league without fingers, like Jason Pierre-Paul. The model's there.
I need all my fingers.
Yeah. So how much do you use your hands in pass rushing?
It's very vital. Even just holding up blocks, hands are everything. You got to beat the hands of the linemen, and
Need all your
they're
fingers.
basically almost the most important.
We had one more for you here that I want to find and make sure that we get it asked. You got it? Go ahead.
Yeah. BJ, would you rather fight 1 horse-sized duck or 10 duck-sized horses?
Wait, you said 1 horse-sized duck?
Yeah, 1 horse-sized duck,
10
duck-sized horses.
10 duck-sized horses.
My man's
Yeah.
an animal, bro.
Sure, right?
He's an animal.
Stomp on him.
Well, yeah, ducks are so mean.
Yeah, they are.
Like,
How
if you-
tall are you, BJ?
I'm 6'3".
6'3".
Okay.
I had it right.
That's our guy, bro. We want to get you in studio here soon.
Oh, yes, sir, most definitely.
It's great to hear from you, man. We'll see you out at spring ball.
No problem. Good
Later,
to see
man.
you guys. Hear from you guys.
You
Good.
too.
There he is, Bj Ojulari checking in.
He's like, what are
25
these
fourth
questions?
graders.
I mean, I feel like
25.
that number's still
25.
still a little light.
I still think that's light.
It might be
I
light.
mean, if he just 360-degree turned with his arm out and just clubbed
Right.
the first layer of fourth graders in his, I mean, like in
Purview.
his circumference.
The fourth
They're-
graders vary in size so much.
That's what I
You
was
know
wondering.
that.
yeah,
I
know.
was a big 4th grader.
I know, but
Yeah, there's some big ones and
yeah,
some
like
tiny ones.
6'3", 225,
Yeah,
that's
running,
still a
jumping,
tough-
freak
Running
like
through
that,
25
bro. I
Ricos,
mean, dude, he catches a SWAT. I mean,
he could just. I mean, if all things considered, he could just kill him. Like he would kill. At least 10 of
I
them.
think that he would. Well, he would probably
Knock him
brain
out.
damage.
I was about to
He
say,
would probably
seriously
cause
injured
brain damage to the
some
first
kids.
2 or 3 that
Yeah.
he hit,
Absolutely.
and then it
And
would
then
be
he
just
could
kind of a
use-
domino.
Well, you could pick those up and use them as a weapon.
Right.
And then, so now he's, so now he's slinging fourth graders and fourth graders.
Do you know what that would look like? What it would sound like?
We can get 25 fourth graders to volunteer for
Screaming
that.
in like
Just kids flying.
kids
You
flying
got the
across
end
the
of the
room.
fourth grade. Get 25 to volunteer and see what happens.
Well, I mean, he's hit a growth spurt from 4th to 5th. Now, 5th graders,
A little more
20.
aggressive.
maybe
20.
25 could give BJ hell. I still think against 25 fourth graders, BJ's the favorite.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
BJ, he may start losing. I mean, it may go to even money 5th grade. You know what I mean? He may start being the underdog in 6th grade.
He probably
You know
hung
what
up
I mean?
the phone and was like, what the hell kind of
So,
questions are
so Jordy, where are you on the duck?
I'm gonna
and the
fight the
horses?
one side. I'm gonna fight the one
horse-sized
size,
duck?
the horse-sized
You're
duck.
a lunatic.
Yeah.
What
I'm
is
gonna fight a
wrong with you?
horse-sized duck.
Jordy.
I'm good.
So you
I
want to take on 10
duck-sized horses.
10 duck-sized
Think about that. You could
horses.
kick them.
You can shoot them. You can do whatever
then they
you want.
I didn't know that we had weapons.
Look, I'm
No,
going
no,
weapons.
no,
I thought we were fighting
let's
with
not
our
do
hands.
weapons.
Oh, we're going hands?
Yeah,
I mean,
fight,
with
fight,
a weapon,
not
I'll
shoot.
fight BJ. You know what I mean?
Wow.
I mean, damn.
Taking out Pat 40 yesterday, taking out BJ today. You're going up in
Yeah,
rank,
right.
dude.
Think about a
Who's next?
horse-sized duck coming at you.
That sounds
Think about that beak.
terrifying. Yeah, that's a bad pick.
The wingspan.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that
see.
could
And
be
if
bad.
they have the temperament
But how
of
are
a
they
horse,
attacking me? I mean, I feel like I could
Like a
easily
duck does.
duke I could juke the duck and get right behind it and somehow like club it.
Oh, no,
You know what I mean?
Jordy.
Somehow like
Put the horse to sleep.
I mean,
the
like
chicken
if
on
you get
Family
behind
Guy.
if you get behind a horse, I mean, a horse kick is.
Yeah, but it's a duck. It's
No, I
very
understand.
little.
I understand.
It's a
I understand.
duck.
But I
Yeah,
mean,
I don't know.
I'm talking about from the duck's athleticism. He's not kicking you from the back,
No.
right? Like I mean, if I can juke the duck, get behind him, I'm jumping on his back and I'm choking him out on his little bitty neck.
Ugh, that would be weird.
You know what I mean?
I'm trying to decide if it has the features of a duck. It's just
The size
the
of a
size
horse.
of a horse.
Yeah.
Horse, yeah.
But so they have 2 legs?
And then
It's a
there's-
duck.
What do you mean?
The
It's a
size
duck
of a
the
horse.
size
I'm
of a
trying to
horse.
put it in perspective for
and
what.
there's
It's a
the
duck on
duck
steroids.
size
Duck.
horse.
Yeah.
Yeah. Coming at you with that beak.
I'm gonna go with the
Yeah, but
duck size.
get out of the
horse.
way of the beak.
You are?
The duck size horse. I'm all in.
Oh, duck-sized horses.
yeah,
like
the 10 of them.
Yeah, because you can
just
just
kick
stomp
them around. and just have some fun.
Duck-sized horses.
They probably be fast as hell though.
They would. Can you imagine? Like little dogs.
That's exactly what it would be.
Oh,
I
athletes.
mean, why did you? Who came up with that? I know
Reed-
Reed Rule did, but like, where did he get
And
that?
it is interesting to think about a horse being that little, but it could probably still put up a good fight. But a duck being that big is terrifying.
Yeah, it would be terrifying.
Michael Kleber, tell Jordy one juke, torn Achilles, and get pecked to death. Oof,
It's already happened.
Yeah,
terrible. It'd be a terrible way to go.
it would be.
Oh,
Wouldn't
and then
it?
you're down too.
Yeah, well, I mean,
they're not
you're
gonna.
done.
There's no mercy.
You're done.
How big of a dump does a duck-sized horse take? They poop all the time.
Horses or ducks?
Both.
Both of them.
Yeah, duck's probably more. Oh my gosh. Yeah,
You ever seen a
Bro,
duck pull a truck?
But see, like,
but that's not what it would be.
That's not what it
because
looks
that's
like.
half horse, half duck.
yeah, right. That's the A-Rod picture.
But that's what I guess the head though maybe would be that size. You want that beak coming at you? Can you choke that neck?
Oh, I
well,
didn't
no,
know.
I can't. I can't choke that one. But I mean, I
That
can
is a
choke
strong neck.
duck neck.
Nah, it'd be a horse size neck, so it'd be like that. It'd have to be like
Man,
this.
There you
Yeah,
are.
right. All right.
Oh my god! I
He's
can't
taking
believe
on
there's a
both.
photo of this.
Blake Abear, who cuts our grass over here from Abear's lawn. Jordy has never been around a duck or goose mowing grass. I bet
Yeah,
that's
they're
shit's
mean.
wild.
They're
dude.
mean.
Vicious
Mean on-
animals.
Yeah, they're mean on the golf course. They act like they own the place. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, they're mean.
And they shit everywhere. Ruin the course.
They do.
I didn't know the duck shit everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They just let it fly.
That was just pigeons.
Yeah.
No, ducks too.
And geese for sure.
And horses. Theirs is just huge.
Yeah. Everywhere.
That's amazing.
All right, what did we leave out here? There was a story that I wanted to. We got to the
Oh,
Jerry
I got the
Jones
picture of
thing.
Jerry Jones.
Oh, good.
No way.
Do you have
25
the
years
family
ago?
too,
From
the
96?
No,
alleged-
this is them. This is them now.
What?
Wait,
Is that
that's the-
Jerry the bull?
Yeah, at one point he was.
Wait, why do they have that photo? Did they take
gold-plated
this
horns.
photo for this
No,
story?
she was on the last season of Big Rich Texas with her mother,
are
Cynthia,
you
Cynthia
serious?
Davis Spencer. Yeah,
Oh, wow.
Big Rich Texas.
that's
huh?
her now. Oh,
No,
that's
no,
Eugenia.
that's Gene.
No.
That's
Yeah.
Gene.
Relax.
That's his current wife.
So that's them. That's the mom and
In
daughter.
2013.
Okay.
That's
What
the
are they
mom.
on? Like Jerry Springer right there?
Yeah, in style. They will be soon.
Yeah.
Probably so. Jerry on Jerry.
You are not the father.
Jerry on Jerry.
Oh, you are the father, Jerry.
Jerry, we're going to need you to sit down.
I still need to see him in '96 though.
He looks 96 now.
How old is
Easy,
he?
bro.
Yeah,
Easy.
the rules are different in the UK.
Oh, he's 79.
Easy.
Okay,
This
he's
is-
79.
He's
This
not
is him in
79.
96.
That's what it says right
No,
there.
that picture was taken when he was 7. He's older now.
This is him in '96, Katie.
Oh.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah?
No.
Did you fly on his PJ?
Did you quit your job?
Sign this NDA.
I don't think so.
Oh, wait, go back to it.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, this is him in 90. Yeah, I mean, he's not. I mean, it's the money asset.
He's
it's
basically the
assets.
same.
Yeah,
Just a little younger.
which is the
looking.
testament
Look
probably
at
to
Jimmy
his
Johnson,
doctor.
bro. Look at Jimmy.
Oh, there he goes.
Easy.
Screen sharing, huh?
Easy.
What do y'all want to see?
He just got
duck-sized
out of
horse.
bed.
It's right here, right? Look at Jerry, bro. Young Jerry. Confident. Should have never ran Jimmy off.
But that's a testament to Jerry's surgeon. He doesn't look that much different.
No, he really doesn't. Interesting.
Kenneth and Danielle Balala. I've already lost a leg. What's 2 toes?
Oh,
That's true.
Damn,
And you've
Kenny.
already lost a leg. We're sorry to hear that.
Yeah,
that,
like,
Kenny.
come on.
do
now.
you have the prosthetic?
Yeah, tell us.
Well, you're not talking to him real time.
I know.
Okay,
Yeah, but I'm getting.
Just floating it.
He'll hear this.
Just floating it.
He'll hear
You
it.
could lose 2 toes off your prosthetic.
Jimmy Johnson looking thick. He is. With a couple of
He
C's,
is.
bro.
Thick with a couple of C's.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's
Weird.
back in his heyday, though. Has anybody watched Winning with the Lakers? What's the name? Winning
Yeah.
Season?
winning time.
Yeah,
Winning Time.
Just the one episode.
This is
Yeah,
watched
watch
it,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, watch it. It's great.
You watched it last
It's
night?
great.
This is beautiful.
Oh.
It's fantastic.
Uh,
Acting's great.
Yeah, that's
It
what I'm
is.
saying. It's like,
That's what puts it over the top.
Yeah.
The acting's fantastic.
who's your favorite character so far?
I think Magic.
Magic?
Yeah, I think I like Dr. Bus too.
Yeah, I like Dr. Bus, but I'm going Jerry West just because
Jerry
like
West
just
is
because
definitely the best on there.
the
bro.
maniac.
He
Like
is
he's
a
just
maniac.
Did Magic and Kareem really have that one-on-one?
That wasn't
In
Kareem.
LA
that
at
was
the-
Norm Nixon.
yeah.
At
Oh
the
yeah.
party?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, they really did that?
Yeah, they did. That's in the
that
book.
was a real thing? It
It's
was in the book?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
in the book. I didn't know how close it was to Magic going back to school like that.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like I didn't know he was like really on the
I mean,
fence.
like,
But is that true too?
yeah, I mean, I guess it is.
Okay.
It's like at the beginning and the end of the credits, it's all based on Jeff Pearlman's
Mm-hmm.
Showtime book. So, I mean, as that was told, that book, I mean, I still need to give you that. I'm going to bring you that book tomorrow.
yes, that'd
Remind
be
me.
awesome.
Because as that story is told, I mean, Pearlman, he talks to everybody in that book. I mean, everybody is giving him firsthand accounts of what life was like during the LA Lakers at that time. Jerry West is a trip, bro. Like, I mean,
In what
he
way?
is a
bro,
basketball is his life. I mean, basketball is his absolute, like,
It consumes it.
it drives him.
consumes
Yes.
It is.
Isn't
He's
he-
Jerry West. He's the logo. He is.
He is basketball
I mean, like,
to an
he is
extent.
revered in West Virginia. He is revered in Los Angeles. But I mean, he feels none of it. I mean, he is
the scene of them on the golf
Is the
course.
best.
He's like he's a maniac. He's like going crazy.
Every word's motherfuck. Every word.
Motherfucking everybody.
He motherfucks everybody. He's driving around. I mean, he's got the MVP trophy from the finals that he lost. You know, he's the only guy that's
Only
won an
one.
MVP in a losing effort, and he treats it like he throws it around. He throws the trophy around like it's just like a
Piece of plastic.
Yeah, like
I don't want
he
this
like
thing.
hates it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But he can't get
'Cause
rid of
It
it.
symbolizes everything that pisses him off about his career. You know,
What was his record in the finals?
like 1-11.
Did he really throw that trophy through the window and break
I mean,
it?
I got to imagine.
I think he did.
I got to
The way he was, he had
I
to.
mean, if
He
that's
had
who
to.
he was, he
Yeah.
definitely did. When Jerry Buss is talking to him about drafting Magic, because like that's what he's doing. I didn't know Jack Kent Cooke was as big of an asshole as he was, the former owner of the Lakers, who Buss bought the team from.
The racist one.
Yeah, the
I love
racist.
how they have like black
Yeah.
black all across it, and then like white.
But Jack Kent Cooke has, like, for a time in American history, had the largest divorce settlement ever.
No way.
Yes. I mean, like, you remember he's in his office, he's like, this is how I'm going to be known for. I've helped millions. I've donated to homeless. I've helped kids.
Jerry might be next on that list.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, he could.
What do you think? Do you think that this, not to switch the subject, but do you think this NOA stuff has anything to do, like, will impact LSU today at all? 1:30 tip?
No.
Like, you don't think Will Wade's distracted?
No, I don't. I think that they've known that this stuff is coming.
He's Will Wade.
That I do know.
He's prepared.
And that's the part that's really, I think, pisses off the masses more than anything.
Yes.
Is his ability to
Compartmentalize.
show and prove that it doesn't affect him. You know, I mean, 40 is going to be
40.
in Tampa today, and he's going to be in that post-game press conference, and he's going to ask him about the latest. And, I mean, I expect Wade to handle that like a in-game timeout.
American
You know what I
gangster.
mean? Just very smooth. You know, I mean, just kind of in and out. But I don't know, man. I do wish we knew what was in that NOA, you know, just to the extent of what LSU football is being alleged.
How many
And
people do you think know that what's in there? Will Wade, I would imagine, knows.
Wade knows, Scott
Scott
Woodward
Woodward
knows,
knows.
Stephanie Rimpf knows, Verge Alsbury knows, the president of the university knows,
Tate.
Dr. William Tate knows. Outside of that circle, I would imagine that the group is very, very small, because talking to people that were close to that group during the coaching process and finding Brian Kelly, they might as well have been us. You know what I mean? People that worked directly and close to those people were like, we had no idea.
That had to be maddening.
We had no idea. Because think how much we get asked who the next head coach is going to be. Can you imagine how many times Cody Worsham was asked? You know what I mean? Like, and when he tells you, like, really, like, I don't know, people are like, fuck off.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, tell us who the coach is,
Cody,
man.
you're fucking lying.
Yeah, right. You know?
Get a couple beers in, like, all right, you'll tell me.
Yeah, all right. Now, who's it going to be?
Know.
He's like, dude, I have no idea. I mean, I'm telling you, I have no idea. I think that is Scott Woodward's best attribute that we have learned on the job is his ability to keep the news to himself.
Yeah.
Well, really, he cut the leak off. He turned the leak off immediately at LSU because news was so easy to come by at this university 3, 4, 5 years ago. I mean, it was almost as if you found out things in covering the program faster than you would being a part of the program. We would have people call us, and I'm thinking like people like Moscona and I and T-Bob up at the radio station, staffers, administrators would routinely text and call and ask, have you guys heard anything? Like, what's going on? I mean, that's how much the information was put out into the public that people on the inside were asking people on the outside, what's going on? It was that bad. It's the worst, I think, public relations and, you know, I mean, it's got to be the worst just locally that it's ever been. Was during that time period. And now Woodward has done such an incredible job of totally flipping that on its head. And for somebody like us, you would think, well, that's probably pisses y'all off, huh? Well, I mean, you know, it's a little annoying that you can't get as much information as you used to. But really and truly, this is the way it's supposed to operate. Like, if you want to have a championship level program and you want to keep things in-house and run your business how you see fit, you can't put the business on the streets. The news can't be in the streets all the time. And, you know, one thing that LSU has done is they've cleaned up the leaks and cleaned up the mess. Now, there's more mess right now that needs to be cleaned up, obviously, with the notice of allegations on the desk. But
I read that it would be early summer before we really know anything.
Man, I don't even know if it's going to be that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really
Seems
do.
like a long time.
I think LSU's strategy here is just to kind of squeeze the time out of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Just
you
kind of
have
keep.
to.
Just keep, and really kind of stay out of the press.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that's what they were doing with Brian Kelly and the LSU football. I mean, think about it. Every time you turned on your TV, radio, opened your computer or a phone, you would see Les Miles or hear Ed Ogeron, right? I mean, those guys ran away from 0 microphones. Mm-hmm. If you offered them a microphone, they would run to it. I think that now they're trying to say, hey, look, let's close ourselves off and become a little bit more exclusive. That way, when we do speak, it carries more weight, right? And we're not telling everybody everything that's going on. So those 2 days that Kelly meets with the press last week, I mean, people were gobbling that up like they had been starved for a month, which they had, right? I mean, you know how tough it would be to be Brody Miller in that time period where you're like trying to find stories to write, but nobody around the program is talking. Nobody's saying anything, and they are really not talking, right? Like in years past when people weren't talking, you were still getting info. But now when the thing is closed up and it's locked out, I mean, you're silent. So that's how it's supposed to be run. That's how championship organizations and Fortune 500 and successful business and companies and organizations are run every day. And now LSU football is being carried in that manner. But you know, for right now, selfishly, you want the news, you want what's going on, but like Katie said, you probably won't find out until early summer. I think it'll be later than that. I think that you'll probably be into football season wondering, whatever happened to those notice of allegations that came out with LSU? Like, did anything ever come of that? Because I think that's the strategy. I mean, you look at, we mentioned it at the top of the show. 4 schools have been served a notice of allegations. 4. Kansas got one in September of 2019. Level 1 violations. Lack of institutional control. No consequences because they've just denied it. Wasn't us, didn't do it, nothing. 0.
Just drop.
0. Chuck Persons at Auburn was an assistant basketball coach, a former player there. Arrested in the practice facility. Feds kick in the door. Cuff Persons on the practice facility wood. Put him in a federal marked car in the parking lot on campus. Haul him away to jail.
That's tacky.
Bruce Pearl, 1 year postseason ban,
It is.
which they've already served, and Pearl was suspended for 2 games. After he was suspended for 2 games, he signed an 8-year, $50 million contract. Arizona got a notice of allegations. They, too, had an assistant coach arrested and served jail time on campus. Book Richardson pled guilty to 1 count of felony conspiracy to commit bribery after being accused of accepting $20,000 to steer an Arizona player to a sports agent.
How much jail time did he serve?
Surely
Surely not much. Oh, really? He was in there that long?
He was.
Wow.
Can
you imagine?
No, I cannot. Merle Code's interview with Dan Lebitard, to me, explains all. If you've not heard it yet, go check it out.
Okay,
Search it. Merle Code is the Adidas shoe executive that really is the fall guy for all of this, right? I mean,
what's your number for them if Adidas is like, you have to go to jail if you don't say anything, we'll get you on the back end?
$10 million.
All right.
How long is he in jail?
Bro, jail time?
Jail is real. He's got
a 9-year-old son. It hit home with me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I could not imagine taking a fall for something that I thought I was just doing my job on and was really good at. And now I'm doing jail time over it. And I got to miss these days with my kid. You better come with something. You better have me a spot at Adidas with a C-level job and a C-level salary, and I ain't never showing up. I mean, y'all better figure it out while I'm away, because when I come out, or fuck that, I'm signing it before I go away.
Absolutely.
Because the day I come out, I'm walking right into whatever you're paying me, and it's going to be 6 to 7 figures annually if I'm falling on the sword for this bullshit. For college basketball recruiting, I'm the guy that gets bent up out of this. After this stuff has been going on for a century, and y'all gonna fall on me? Give me my money. Give me my security. Give me my days back with my son that I'm gonna miss.
How long is he in jail?
I don't know the exact dates, but I think it's 6 months.
No.
What?
I'm just saying, it's not like it's 10 years. I mean,
Bro,
if you're playing,
you want to give up your
long
life and go to
time.
jail for 6 months?
6 months
Think
in jail
about
is
that.
like
You wanna do it
10
I've
years.
been to jail. I know
For
what
what?
jail
6
is.
hours?
Night.
For 12 hours?
Oh,
yeah,
come
but I'm just
on.
saying, I know what jail is. I'm not acting
don't.
like
No,
I'm not
you didn't go to.
acting-
You don't.
No, you
You were in
didn't.
like a
you didn't go to
holding
general
facility.
population.
No. Yes, I did. Absolutely. And
Where at?
Houston. Big dog.
Go to EPR or go to NOLA.
Okay, go to Las Vegas.
Go anywhere.
I
I've seen jail,
Yeah.
right? Like, I mean, I know, but you're telling me that you would do jail for 6 months?
No, I'm not. I don't want to at all. I'm saying if you're like the case that you're building up, like $10 million, I feel like is fair for 6 months. But I thought it was going to be like 10 years. If you like start talking about, your kid, like if you're going away and your kid comes back 19 years old, you're
Sure.
like,
No, I get
that's a
that.
totally
Yeah.
different argument
still
than
get
6
that.
months. Like, oh, bro, you're just, what's up, man?
No,
But it's
I
a-
would still
you grew
die.
2 inches.
It's
I
a
would
federal
die.
prison though. 6 months in a federal
Yeah,
prison,
no,
not
the
just
prison
like a
I
regular
wasn't
prison.
disagree with.
Yeah.
I know prison ain't
Yeah,
a walk in
they
the park.
know.
But I'm saying like the time missed of like the family 6 months you can make up.
I would die.
Yeah, you would.
I would die.
You
I wouldn't
probably
be
would.
able to.
Oh, first
handle it.
day.
Yeah.
So would I.
Yeah.
I mean, who
It'd be
are we
awful.
kidding?
Yeah, there's
know what I mean?
nothing
Like-
you can do about it.
Have y'all
No,
ever seen that
prison- yeah.
series with the people they like send them into jail, like regular
Yes.
people?
That is-
and they don't like.
Scared
Like I've
straight?
That is.
Is one dude he like acted like he was like super hard.
Yes.
Got there the first day he was in the holding
Crying.
cell. I'm done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fuck
Swiping it
that.
out.
Yeah.
Can't do it.
Safe word. Grapefruit juice. Get me out of here.
Here. I ain't hard like that. No.
No.
Bro, I remember when I went to Parkview my junior year. I went to Catholic High my freshman and sophomore year. I went to Parkview my junior and senior year. And we took like the free enterprise class my freshman year at Catholic High. So my senior year at Parkview, we had to like they were taking it as seniors at Parkview. So I had to sub a class in for that. I'd already had the credit. So I was taking a sophomore level class. I think it was like civics or something. I forget what it was. And that class took a field trip to Angola. And I was the only 18-year-old there because I was a senior and they were all sophomore. And you couldn't go on death row unless you were 18. They couldn't take you to death row unless, like, it was like a guided tour, but you had to be 18 to go on the tour.
You went.
Did I go? For sure, man. I mean, I was like, it was me and the teacher went. Shout out to
Did it
Mr.
freak you
Shazo.
out?
Did it freak me out? I remember walking out of there and being like, I thought I was a badass. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just a little punk ass kid who runs my mouth and doesn't shave and think I'm fucking bad. You know what I mean? Like,
Don't do that here,
I
kid.
want nothing to do with this world. Like, I mean, like, It was the first time I'd ever seen Angola. It was the first time I had never done
the rodeo.
I had never done the rodeo. I had never done the golf course. Like, you can go publicly play Angola golf course.
Were there a lot of them?
What?
On death row?
Yeah.
Were they weird? Did they yell at you? Like, did you interact with them at all?
No, I mean, well, first you're like, it's not jail.
Eyeballs.
It's not like the death row is not the bars. Death row is like a slammed cell shut with the eye patch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That you can look through. I mean, you hand them their food through
slide the food under the door.
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
Tray
they're
will slide.
23 hours of isolation
Oh my god.
a day. And the hour that they get out, they get 30 minutes outside and 30 minutes to like refresh themselves.
Yeah.
It's like shower.
Yeah.
Work out and shower. You get an hour outside.
Wow.
And it was, first off, I mean, just jail alone, like the feeling, the smells, the atmosphere,
It's like
the
you said,
environment,
like just
bro.
being there for one day. Imagine waking up in there again. You're like, I'm
Every
here
single
for 6
day.
months.
Jordy, you talk about that. My school did the same thing. Like, we went to Angola and they showed us death row because we were like juniors. So like they showed us everything. And one of my buddies, he was with his girlfriend. Like, he had his girlfriend with him, and she would like run her mouth, all kind of shit. So his girlfriend's walking past some prisoners and they were looking at her.
Oh my God.
And he's like, bro, if you tell them something, I ain't saying shit. Like, I'm not getting my ass beat in prison in Angola.
Yeah,
like, it's
you're
over.
about to be
Shut
an
your
inmate
mouth.
here. Yeah.
Right.
They're telling you,
Dude,
you
it
can
was-
stay.
The food there is awful.
Awful.
Oh, I can imagine.
Awful. The smell of the kitchen. I
Baked
can still
chicken.
smell it. I mean, I still see the whole thing, man. I still see and feel being like, and I remember leaving there, like showing up, you're all like,
Yeah, like,
you know, like,
like,
hey, this is gonna be awesome. Hey,
about to be in
hey, what's
Angola.
up, man? How's it going, bro? What'd you do? You know what I mean? And you like leave there, you're like, I mean, just shook.
See, they made us
You know
give
what
up
I
our
mean?
I'm
phones.
gonna
like-
go home, do my homework.
Yeah, right.
Apply to
Right.
college.
Mom, I love you.
Yeah.
They made us
I'm in
give
San
up our
Francisco
phones
right
and
now. I'm on my
everything
way.
before we went in.
Yeah, I bet they
Like,
did.
it was like
Oh, no doubt.
complete
No
lockdown.
doubt.
Like,
Yeah.
it was.
No.
It's pretty
Place
scary.
is
That-
huge.
Did they show y'all the dogs?
The dogs,
Bro,
absolutely.
you are not getting away from this place.
Well, I mean-
first of all, you got to run through whatever is
swamp.
behind there.
Swamp.
Yeah, and then there's these dogs that are like wolves.
Right.
They're like
That are
probably
trained
horses.
to
Yeah,
kill you
Right.
Yes.
when they run you down.
Can't wait for you to take off.
like ready, like,
yeah.
It's like
excited.
patrolling.
Yes. Well, they're in like a cage. Like they have like the trustees
But they have
taking
like
care
the,
of the dogs.
you know, like they have like the four corner lookouts. You know, like the towers with the guards up there.
So if somebody escapes, they just let the dogs loose.
Let the dogs loose, and then, I mean, they got riflemen standing at all four corners of the property. To,
gotta-
you know, I mean, you're 200 yards in the air.
you got a long run
And
to
you're,
get out of
I've
there.
never
you're
done it.
overseeing. I mean, it's in St. Francisville.
Yeah, I've never
Yeah.
seen it though.
You've got to
Never seen
run.
it? Have you seen the turnoff? What if you're going down 61?
Or, yeah, I guess I
if you're
have
like
seen the
if you're heading to
turnoff, yeah.
Gomart, if you're heading to Tom's place
Yeah.
in Natchez, and you're going down 61, when you get into East Feliciana, when you get into St. Francisville,
Yeah.
that light, or it's not a light. It's right after a light. I mean, you see it. It's about 20 minutes down. You take a left, and you take a left. You go about 20 minutes down, and I mean, like the signs start: "Do not pick up hitchhikers."
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I mean, like it's, and then like once you pull in there, man, it's so real.
So eerie.
It's
Did
so.
we do a crew field trip to Angola?
Oh,
I'm out.
Why? Yeah, I'm out.
I'm still shook
That-
from '99.
Yeah, it was the food for me. Like they were like, "This is our best meal." It was like baked chicken, and it was awful.
You know
like
what the coolest
worst.
part of the experience was? The coolest part of the experiences was meeting at the time Burl Kane, who was the warden, and his best friend was Billy Cannon.
Really?
And Billy Cannon went and served time in Angola
Yeah.
for counterfeiting cash. And while he was there, he realized, I fit in here. Like, these are all my people. And he got his dental degree and ended up being the longtime dentist at the Angola prison. He lived in St. Francisville. He had the horse farm out there. The last time I saw Billy Cannon in his life was probably about 6 weeks before he passed. And I was giving clients that I had in radio a present for their commitments. And I had a stack, 15 Billy Cannon pictures that a friend of mine, Philip Cancellari, who's an LSU photographer, had and had given the radio station. And I called Dr. Cannon and asked him if he could meet me to to have him sign, and I met him at the Burger King in St. Francisville.
No way.
He drives from Angola. He's still got the white coat on and walking up.
Oh, he was
and
still working?
he worked till the day he died.
Really?
And we sat down in that Burger King and in St. Francisville, and I had a stack of pictures, and it was just me and Louisiana's most famous citizen,
Yep.
right? Just sitting there for 45 minutes, and he started telling me the story of how he ended up in Angola and how he lives there. I mean, like, he lived right down the street from it on a farm where he had horses, and he was telling me about breaking horses and how he trains the horses. And how much in love he had fallen with, like, the Angola experience.
Wow.
Like, it was like
That's
it had
interesting
changed
after being there
his
as an
life.
inmate.
It totally changed his life. And his story about it was, to hear him tell it firsthand, you know, I mean, at that point in his life, he was talking quiet. You know what I mean? He didn't have his, you could still see Cannon's badass, though. Like, always could see in his, like, whether it was his shoulders or sometimes you would catch the way he would walk and you'd be like, that cat was a motherfucker back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like,
A little gait.
yeah, he had that. He still had that strut, and like he was awesome, man.
How
I mean,
much time did he serve in Angola?
I don't know exactly how much time he served, but I want to say that he was the dentist there for like 40 years.
Wow.
Yeah, like, I mean, it was a long run, 35 years, 30-year run.
That's
Jason,
pretty cool.
Billy Jr. now lives on that farm. Which I mean, like, the stories of Billy Cannon Jr. Is
What does he
you
do?
want to hear some athletics? You know Billy Cannon Jr.
I didn't know there was a junior.
He went to Broadmoor High School here in town, and LSU and Billy Sr. were kind of at odds then. Like, they went through a time period where Billy Sr. and LSU just weren't vibing. And this was the time when Billy Cannon Jr. was coming up, and he was the number one player in both football and basketball coming out of high school.
Wow.
At Broadmoor. And George Steinbrenner, who is the owner of the New York Yankees, used to do a lot of business in New Orleans. He used to deal with a lot of the shipping yards down in New Orleans. That's why the Yankees would play home games in New Orleans when, like, in the 80s, they would go play in the Dome because Steinbrenner had business interests down there.
Wow.
And so, you know, that's why there's a lot of Yankees fans in New Orleans, older guys, older people, because they grew up kind of watching the Yankees play in New Orleans.
That's cool.
And so Steinbrenner, on one of those trips, went over and saw Billy Cannon Jr. play. And Billy Sr. and Steinbrenner started going head to head, like, kind of like going at each other, because Steinbrenner was like, I'm drafting him. And Cannon said, you're only going to draft him for this number. Like, this is the only number we're taking, and we're not going, and we're not playing Major League Baseball. And he ended up passing on the Yankees out of high school and went to Texas A&M and played football, but ended up going back to baseball. And Billy Cannon Jr. played for the New York Yankees and the Dallas Cowboys.
What?
Broke his neck.
Did everyone in here know this but me?
He broke his neck playing for the Cowboys.
What?
Had a terrible neck injury. Had it put back together.
When was that time period that he played for the Cowboys?
80s,
Okay.
mid 80s. I don't know the exact time period. And I may be off on the Yankees. He may have played for the Yankees right out of high school, and then him and then Steinbrenner and Cannon got into it, and then he went back to football.
Okay.
But he played for the Yankees and the Cowboys, and still to this day, you can ask people around his age, like, who's the best athlete to ever come out of Louisiana? You know, like that discussion. And that's the discussion that, you know, I mean, depending on where you are in this state, depending on who you're asking, you're probably going to get a different answer from 10 people. You get into a room in Baton Rouge with people who understand athletics and sports and kind of the history of this city and this area, and that are around that age, and without hesitation, people will tell you Billy Cannon Jr. is the best athlete they've ever laid their eyes on.
Wow.
I mean, was a guy that was like, pick up a golf club, it'll hit it 300 down the pipe. Give him a bowling ball, he'll bowl 300. Put him on a football field, he's the best player. Put him on the baseball field, you want to take him number one overall. Put him on the basketball floor, he's catching half-court lobs. You know what I mean? Just like,
Easy
this
work.
dude ain't doing, there's nothing this cat can't do. And for whatever reason, Cannon Sr. and Cannon and LSU were they just were in a bad spot at the time. And
Such a classic
he
LSU
didn't-
story.
It is. It is. An old, it's class.
Tale as old as
it's
time.
tale as old as time, bro. I mean, how you didn't get Billy Cannon Jr. and he was at Broadmoor.
Down the street.
Broadmoor.
Jeez.
Could you imagine a Jordy Culotta being able to have a microphone then?
No.
Good Lord.
What?
If you were on radio at that time, whenever
Yeah.
you're like,
God.
he's right down the street.
Yeah.
You can't get him in the building.
Exactly.
His dad is the greatest player in LSU history.
Yes. Talk about a
Think I
rant.
give a fuck? He's a felon?
The only Heisman in school history. His dad has it. You can't get him to LSU? Burn the place down. I'm out.
Michael Kleber, Billy Cannon was a dentist in Donaldsonville for a while. I went to him because he was my regular dentist. My regular dentist was on vacation, and he filled a cavity for me. That's pretty cool, man.
Would Junior come on the show?
Brian
tell
Burgess,
stories?
my dad would tell stories about Billy Cannon at a Struma. Billy Cannon Sr. went to a Struma. Billy Cannon Jr. went. I would love to have Billy Cannon Jr. on this show.
That would be amazing.
Rob Boudreaux or Jason, who says that Billy lives on a farm now. If you know him and can put us in touch with him, we would appreciate that very much because we would love just to have stories being told. Now, Billy's daughter, Bunny Cannon, who is awesome.
Awesome.
She's great. She was she was kind of like an LSU representative. She was kind of like representing LSU in the public. A liaison. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. For a long, long time. And I know that you off, Stewie? Good luck today, bro.
Duty calls. Class. No Angola. LSU only.
Stay out of Angola.
Yep.
But Bunny Cannon was Billy's daughter, and she was kind of in the, I guess, liaison's office at LSU. And she has great stories, obviously,
I bet.
about her father. So maybe we can touch base with Bunny about putting us in touch with Billy Jr. because I would love to talk to Billy Jr. on just his life.
Yeah.
Forget being
Absolutely.
Billy's son, right? Which I'd imagine that, that was what he was known for a lot of his life. But I mean, the stories that you hear of Junior are incredible as well.
What you just said blew my
Yeah.
mind.
It's nuts, man. It's nuts. I
It
mean,
is.
so I mean, like at one point it was like Tom Landry, the legendary coach of the Dallas Cowboys, and George Steinbrenner sitting in a Sherwood Forest house over there on Sherwood Forest, across the street from the Sherwood Forest Country Club where Billy Cannon lived. Like they were like sitting in there on like this, like a random Tuesday. Like the story goes, like Billy Cannon showed up from, showed up to his house. Cannon Sr. showed up from his house, and like Tom Landry is Tom Landry at this time. I mean, he's got the hat on outside of his house, and George Steinbrenner pulls up in a brand new Cadillac and parks it in front of Billy's house, and they're both sitting in the living room when he walks in from work one day. I mean, just fellas, how we doing?
How we doing?
Yep. Smile for me. Let me see those teeth.
Yeah. Every 6 months, boys.
That's right. All right, so have a good day out there. If anybody knows Billy Cannon Jr. and can put us in touch, we would love to have him on this show.
Yeah.
And the casket for Billy Cannon was made by Angola inmates and given to him
Hell
as a
yeah.
Oh,
gift.
really?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's awesome.
That is
great. And I don't know if I told this part of the story, but the coolest part about that was Burl Cain and Billy Cannon. And when you walked with them around those halls, how much respect those cats had from those people. Right? Like, I'd imagine that's a pretty tough room to walk into and get respect from.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Especially if you're a commoner compared to an inmate. And Cannon, I'll never forget, like the prison grounds is like pristine. Like you would eat your food off of the prison floor. It's that clean. You know what I mean? It feels that clean. Smells that clean. But like Cannon was walking down the hall, and there may have been like a gum wrapper or something, something blew in from outside that was on the rain. He told somebody, pointed at it, and he didn't even have to say a word. Cat jumped 3 feet off the ground, picked it up, put it in a trash can. And I remember thinking, damn, this place is, I want nothing to do with this place,
Right.
dude.
I don't even want
It's
to run it.
way too military for me,
Yeah.
man. I mean, this ain't me. Have a great day. Stay out of jail, everyone. We will talk to you tomorrow at 7 a.m. Mikey Matuk is, we will have the latest on him. We are planning Fred's Friday. Fred's Friday is happening tomorrow. We will be there for sure at 3:30. We will have the latest on Mikey on whether or not he will be shipping out to spring training tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. So make sure you like, share, comment on the post. Have a great day. We appreciate you being here. Go Chevrolet drives us each and every day. Check them out online at geauxchevrolet.com. All right, personal testimony from my trip over to Johnson and Spillers. Shout out to my friend Dr. Chad Spillers for taking care of me, man. I had to have my front tooth, a tooth implanted on my front tooth, and it was a hell of an ordeal, but Dr. Spillers and the crew from Johnson and Spillers made it as easy and seamless as possible to work with and have taken the final product, and it is absolutely beautiful. Learn more online at johnsonspillers.com. Whether you're looking for Botox or you need help in any type of dentistry, whether it is dentures, night guards, if you're looking for Invisalign, if you're interested in implant dentistry like I got, you can get in touch with Johnson and Spillers. Online, johnsonspillers.com. 2 locations, one in Gonzales, one in Baton Rouge. Easiest way to get them, online at johnsonspillers.com. City Cafe online at citycafebr.net, where good friends meet. Great food and even better service, located in the shopping center behind Rite Aid on the corner of George O'Neill and O'Neill Lane. They cater for parties, big and small. Sundays, they serve a fantastic brunch that starts at 10 a.m. They have daily lunch specials, and remember, you can look at everything online at citycafebr.net. We'll give a shout-out to Squeaky Miranda, Cody Miranda, Dirk and the crew, everybody over at City Cafe for their support here, the Jordy Culotta Show. Online, City Cafe.